to another episode of Matrix Dialogues. You know who I am. I'm your host. Been doing this. Try number 15. Still don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're just fucking it up as we go here. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with someone who's very close to me. Great dude. Didn't meet in the more conventional way, I guess. Kind of life just has a way of putting people around you who you need, and kept us there. Met in a very, I guess, almost transient scenario, but then just stayed continuing to chat and check in. And so 9 months later and across the country, we're in LA this weekend. After those who are listening, we were in New York last week, LA now. The one and only Mr. Cameron. I'm going to butcher your last name. Chacker?
Yeah, Chacker.
Chacker. See, I was fucking up. Okay.
Yeah, that's how most people say it now.
How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, appreciate you being willing to take the time and connect again. How you been doing?
I've been doing good. You know, just hustling, working, traveling as I love to do.
Yeah.
It's my passion along with film creating. And now I'm having a blessing of getting on my first podcast. So that's it's definitely a new experience. It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting being on this side of the camera.
Yeah. I know it's definitely a little bit overwhelming like initially, but like anything, I think it just takes a few reps, and then, you know, the growth from rep 1 or 2 to now has been like mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get like little stupid shit. Like I don't care about my voice anymore. I'm like, oh, that's me. You know, oh fuck. Okay. You know, versus the first time you hear your voice, you're like, oh,
of course. Yeah. It's always crazy. Nobody likes it.
No. But if you want to do this thing, you kind of have to get used to it. So
you do.
Don't have a choice. But do you want to tell, just for some context, how we met? I'll let you break the story down. I talk enough in this thing, so
yeah, no. I'll take it for sure. You know, I shoot for Dark Sport. I was actually one of their first athletes, and you know, I stopped competing, and I picked up the camera. Dark Sport is very family oriented. They're loyal, and they were continuing to give me free clothes when I didn't deserve it. You know, I wasn't earning it. I wasn't putting in any time on the stage anymore, and you know, I felt guilty about that. I don't like to get anything without earning it, you know. You know, once or twice is cool, but after that, I got to pay it forward.
Yeah.
So I told them, I was like, hey, you know, pay me X amount, which wasn't much at the time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think anything of my work. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to provide some value and something that I believed in that they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, just continue to give me free clothes and that X amount. And, you know, it's built into what it is today. Flash forward to how we met. It was a drop called Wish You Were Here, which is very meaningful to me. Mm-hmm. I've lost a lot of people along the way. I wish a lot of them were here.
Yep.
And in that, they picked 100 different fans, so to say, of Dark Sport who had submitted their story about somebody that they wish they were here. And you were in my group.
I was.
Which was a cool thing, because I think there was a lot of people that, you know, were going through some trials and tribulations, so heartache, some grief, in whatever stage that was. And it was just a common ground for us all to kind of share those stories and connect, which is really cool of Dark Sport to do. But you and I being a little bit deeper and a little bit more outspoken and not worried to be vulnerable, we really shared a lot. And we stayed connected within those shares. And when we left that experience, which was an amazing experience, and thank you to Dark Sport for doing that, because I now have a friend who I can turn to and gives me solid advice and, you know, makes me look at my own shit too. You know, I also, hey, give it to me. Yeah. Give it to me straight. You know what I mean? Don't 100%. Be nice. Don't make me feel good. Yeah. You know, that's cool at one point, but I need the other side to be able to grow and reflect on certain things. So you've been a good friend in that sense.
Appreciate it.
And that's basically how we met. And we continued to communicate pretty much every day, whether it's quick comments or, you know, commenting on the stuff that we're putting on our stories or the posts or even this podcast that you're doing.
Yeah.
Giving each other, you know, just that good 1-2 back forth.
Yeah.
So, you know, I really value it and thank you for having me on this, because I want to start my own podcast, and seeing you just kind of jump off the cliff and do it and seeing the growth already just shows that you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm proud of you for taking that first step, because it's tough.
It is. Yeah, no, we like you said there, it was a great way that we got to meet. Dark Sport doing some great things, as they always are. But yeah, like you said, just the willingness to be vulnerable and just kind of lay yourself out there I've never heard it anywhere, but I've just kind of claimed it as like, what's the alternative?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you already know what not doing it's going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
So inversely, why don't you just try to do it and see what happens? And a lot of people have questioned. They're like, well, what happens if I'm too vulnerable with someone? I'm like, well, you know, that doesn't, like, it shouldn't negate the vulnerability from existing from you. I think it just helps expedite the process of realizing those people aren't as good for you as maybe you'd initially thought, rather than it being like this hindrance to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just like being kind. Like being kind costs you nothing, but it really could be everything to someone else.
For sure.
You know, and so again, people are like, well, but somebody's going to take advantage of that. It's like, well, there's always going to be bad people with ill intentions looking for someone to take advantage of. And, you know, you get that happens to you a few times and you don't know how to recognize it. So I don't think it's ever should be a hindrance to say like, oh, I shouldn't be kind or I shouldn't be vulnerable. I shouldn't be loving to people. You know, like your story that you shared with me that day when we met kind of really helped, you know, push me forward. It's kind of like the conversation we had the other day, talking about how you never know what you're saying is going to do to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just this me sharing like, hey, this is how I got involved in doing photography, videography.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think like, oh, you know, like that's crazy. Like that's such a unique gift that you were able to give to your brother-in-law. Something that I think, you know, has a lot more weight and value. And me in particular, like I value my time so much. You know, I think it's money, everything else. Like I can get more of it. The only thing that's truly finite here is how much time we have. We don't know how much that's going to be. So I love the idea of being able to like capture just that singular moment in time to always kind of reflect upon it. And that coupled with they threw my voice at the end of that video from when we were exchanging words there, and I was like, damn, who is that? And shit, it was me. I was like, that sounds pretty fucking good. Like, and so I'd been having the idea anyway, and so yeah, I just did it, and here we are, just doing it.
Yeah, I love it, dude. You know, you speaking on what you said about the vulnerability and being too vulnerable. You know, I get hit up all the time with people. You sure you want to put that out there? Especially when I first started being vulnerable, it's a little bit different because I didn't grow up in an environment where vulnerability and showing your love and, you know, quote unquote weakness was accepted. You know, you got made fun of. You got in fights because if someone's making fun of you, then you can't let them make fun of you. You got to fight them.
Yeah.
It was just a whole different dynamic of dealing with each other and those emotions. So you suppress those emotions. But as I started stepping into my own, I realized that, I don't know, there's just something burning inside of me that was just a little bit different. I felt compelled to share things that I was going through. I felt compelled to you know, share those trials and tribulations that most people keep deep down inside because of the fear of being judged or, hey, you're lame, whatever it is, you're a bitch, you know, you're a pussy, whatever you want to call it, you know, excuse my language, but that's how I grew up, you know, you're a punk, all that shit. And those were fighting words.
Yeah.
And, you know, once I broke from those restraints, you know, and I started being that, the people that I was growing up with, like, what are you doing? You're sharing all this stuff. Why are you sharing this? Like, you shouldn't share all that, big dog. People are asking about what you're doing. And I that was hard because there's people that were my peers, you know, and here I am being judged or being talked behind my back because I'm sharing, because I'm being vulnerable. That's a hard one to just keep going.
Yeah.
It makes you want to dim your light, right? But I've never been a weak person. I've always been a leader at heart. And I just knew I had to shut it out.
Yeah.
You know, and what was cool is, you know, kind of speaking on what you were saying when you first came here the first day, is you weave out the people who don't belong in your life and the people who resonate with you and are on the same page as you and want what you have or want what you're doing. They show up. They start knocking at your door.
Yep.
And what's kind of crazy is you'll find that the people that were naysaying you, they actually come back to your door.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
because they want what you got now. You know,
and I'm not saying that I'm anything special. I'm not. I'm a human being just like everybody else. It's just I was willing to put it all out there, no matter what it was I was going through, no matter what it was, whether it was a relationship and maybe not being my best or them not being their best, but taking ownership, you know, accountability. I think that's another thing with vulnerability is being accountable. You can be vulnerable all you want, but if you're just shitting on other people and making it all about them, then there's no real accountability. And like, how does that build character? You know, how are you to reflect on your mistakes if you're not being accountable?
Yep. 100%.
So, you know, it's kind of a trip because a lot of these people now, and especially people that were a little bit rougher around the edges, are coming in like, hey, I want to hang out with you. I want to surround myself with people like yourself. It's really kind of cool to see. I ain't mad. I'm happy. I hope more, you know, step into that light and want a different future or a different, you know, chapter for their life, you know? And so not to go too off the rails here, but you know, sometimes I'll share and I'm like, delete that. That was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Delete that. Right now, you're going to be judged. That was too much. All that fear started coming up of what everybody's going to say or think about me. You know, they're going to judge me, all this stuff. But I find that those moments are the moments that I get the most feedback on.
Yep.
Hey, thank you so much for what you shared today. I really needed that. I've been going through a tough time, you know, and what you shared was like perfectly what I'm going through. And it just really helped me. And I get that stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful thing. So, you know, I always tell people, if you're scared, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Because if you're scared, there's something more to it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't let that fear hinder you.
No, definitely. And the beauty there, when I love that what you say, it's like, there's a reason it's there. There's a reason people are like, hey, you shouldn't put that out. It's like, well, like a night, like we spoke about again the other day, like the curiosity for me is always what's driven it. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't I put it out there? What's so bad that's going to come? Yeah. Why is it so threatening to you that I'm willing to do it? Mm-hmm. You know? And then the beauty of there is what you said is like, they're going to judge you regardless. Mm-hmm. You know? Whether you win, whether you lose, somebody's going to have something to say, you know? it doesn't matter, right? So if that's really the mindset that you're living in for anyone, right? Is if that's letting that fear hold you back on someone's going to judge me or think differently of me, is like, they're going to have an opinion regardless of what you do. But what's the opinion of you from yourself look like? Mm-hmm. You know, and how are you managing that relationship? Because that's one that's 24/7, 365. That's not one that's, oh, when I see you every other Thursday at grandma's house or on Thanksgiving. And like, that's every day. I wake up with that motherfucker. I go to bed with him. Yep. Like what he thinks of me should be the utmost importance, but it's something that's so easy to become, you know, lower on the priority list. But I think when people can start to reframe that and get to the point where they can really evaluate, it's like, who am I to me? Mm-hmm. You know? And like I said it in a few podcasts ago with a good friend of mine. And, you know, it's like, it was this person admitting when they knew they needed to go to therapy. And he said, I work really hard for my job. I'm a good employee and I show up really well for my wife and I'm a good husband, you know, and I'm a great father to my kids. And, the therapist responds, but those are things you are all to other people. Mm-hmm. Who are you and what are you to yourself? Mm-hmm. And this dude was like, 34 years old and never once questioned that. Yeah. You know? And so
being so busy showing up for other people.
Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, what number are you on that list? And for some people, it doesn't even exist. Mm-hmm. You know? And so though it may feel selfish or like you're taking something away from yourself, really the idea that that's actually a compounding variable into who you are for your wife, for your kids, for your career. It's not a inhibitor. It's actually a multiplier in the proactive side, right? It's going to just make you better as a father, a husband, a friend at your job, if there's more of you there to show up. Mm-hmm. But kind of talking about how you grew up, you know, you're from here, from LA. Yeah. Not necessarily the best parts of LA either. Same as we've had that conversation a little bit before on, you know, toughness and some comments we've shared about, you know, the idea of a man's like, I'm tough, you know, I'll do that weak shit. But it's like actually being able to understand it, apply it, and navigate life with those emotions is actually what makes you stronger. So kind of where in LA did you grow up, you know, a little bit about how that's now shaped how you are.
Well, you know, it's funny. I actually grew up in a very nice neighborhood. You know, it was a little bit different than it is now. Hermosa Beach is it's like you would say, I would probably say Beverly Hills came to the beach. Okay. But back in the day, it was a skate punk crowd and just, I would say like hardcore locals, surfers, skaters, things along those lines. Wasn't necessarily like the South Side gangs and, you know, the Bloods and the Crips and things along those lines. We didn't have that really at the beach. We were the white boys at the beach. Yeah. You know, and we were locals, but we weren't fucking no punks. Yeah. We fought anybody that came into our city. We fought them. Anybody that came out to our bars, we fought them. I'm not saying these are proud moments. Yeah. Just part of the history. Yeah. These are the part of the people that I surrounded myself with. But what I started to do was a little bit graduate outside of that. And I started putting myself in situations that were rougher areas. So we made our own area rough with who we were as individuals and who we surrounded ourselves with, but not necessarily those were tough areas to live in.
Gotcha.
Once I started going to Inglewood and Culver City and Venice and downtown LA, you know, Skid Row, all that stuff, all those areas, doing the grimy stuff, drugs, gangs. Yep. that's when it got ugly for me. That's when it got to my darkest moments. And kind of speaking on that, you know, it's kind of fucked up because I grew up in a very good home. I had
Yeah.
two very good parents, good morals, good values. They told me to put myself in other people's shoes and really put myself in other people's shoes, not just intellectually, but true empathy. Feel what somebody else is feeling,
Yeah.
so that you don't do something to them that would be hurtful or harmful. You know, because if it was actually you wouldn't do that to you, right?
Yeah.
Easier to do to somebody else if you don't really think about how it's going to make them feel. But if you think about how it would make you feel or what it would go on for you, well, it's going to have a lot more impact.
Yes.
And I took that very seriously when my dad instilled those stuff in me.
So what do you think? What do you think made you seek that kind of that violence or that need to be a little rougher, tougher?
Well, you know, like I said, I grew up in, like I said, just to kind of speed things along so we don't get too stuck. But, you know, I grew up surfing, skating, going up to the mountains, very active, played all different sports. My dad coached through all that stuff. I just think some people just have this natural knack for more. I had the more knack. No matter how much I exercised, how much I skated, surfed, didn't matter. I needed something a little bit more. And then, you know, if I really reflect on it, you know, I've talked to my mother about it, talked to her because I got heavy into drugs, crack, speed, smoking heroin and crack at the same time, robbing houses, robbing people. I got pretty dark, and people would come to think, you think like, okay, it's your environment, or you didn't have a fatherless home, or you grew up in a drug addict home. I didn't grow up in that stuff.
Yeah.
My parents were very much against all that. I think what it was at the time when I was just experimenting is one part of it. And I think also when I was experimenting with the people that I was hanging around, you know, because I wanted to be around stuff that was a little bit more edgy, a little bit more exciting, going through hard things. My parents broke up, you know, they separated around I was around 15. And that was when I really started doing the heavy drugs, and, you know, and other people were doing drugs because of whatever they're going through. And you kind of graduate into, oh, this is experimenting, this is fun, to now this is a mission. You know, and I would say maybe partially my environment, partially the people I was going around, but then probably partially the heartache of you know, my parents, this perfect home and all this amazing stuff that they did together and everybody being together, kind of slowly dissipating. My sister's now off at college. I have a younger brother, and you know, trying to deal with that without dealing with it. What way do you deal with it?
Yeah, you cope
You
with something.
suppress it with drugs.
Yeah.
And so at the time, my mom asked me, do you think you did this because me and your dad separated? I was like, no, it was too hard up. I had too much ego to admit that, oh, I could be.
That shit can fuck with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, that doesn't bother me. I'm strong. I'm a man at 15 years old. You're not a man, you're a little boy.
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted to be a man.
Yeah.
So I thought doing drugs and hanging out and having promiscuous sex and doing all the crazy shit was being a man. Because that's what I was taught was a man by the people that I was surrounding myself with. Okay, what's also a man is if someone calls you out, you fight them. No matter how big they are, how gnarly they are, I don't care how small you are, you stand your ground. Even if you get your ass beat, you take your licks.
Yeah.
And so I just had a whole skewed, I think because of the drugs, I had a whole skewed thing of my direction and where I was going, and just kind of got lost in the sauce, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, but I would probably say just a lot of pain. I was a kid that was full of emotion, and I was very sensitive when I was younger, and I didn't like to show it with crying. And if I showed it with crying, then I was going to fight you too, just protect that crying, that weakness, or what I felt was weakness. You know, I'm going to beat your ass because I'm crying.
Yeah.
And you hurt my feelings. And instead of telling you hurt my feelings, I'm just going to fight you, you know? And so I just think there was just a lot of pain that I was suppressing. And that's why I chose to get into certain things that I got into.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really know if there's some one specific things. I just think I'm a compound interest type of person. It's just the trash can's over full, and here I am.
Yeah. No, I've been very continuously learning on the psychology and psychological front on kind of what generates us to this, again, in that curiosity. As I started going to therapy and getting more secure and learning how to heal from the pain that I'd endured, I was like, how, like we said earlier, it was like, what did someone go through to get to this point? You know, just that, like, let me spin it around instead of like, damn, that dude's fucked up. Like, maybe he is, but like, what does someone like, what are things that people endure that can break them? Or that even disguised almost could break them, right? Like you're thinking, oh, like my parents split, no big deal, right? And it's like, well, but also at that time, it's like you're 15. What other real life experiences have you navigated?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's almost like you know, what's like a good phrase? It's like, you know, you hit so fast you don't even know you got hit, kind of thing, because it's so overwhelming. Like in comparison to what else do you have to measure it against in your life at that point?
True.
So you're like, no, I'm good, because you're like, I don't. What does this even feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like what was that? What is all of this that I'm now feeling as a consequence of this thing that's happening? I am like you, still insanely sensitive to people that I care about. Yeah, very emotional. Have been ever since always that I can remember. Again, now it's more geared to as I've gotten more, I guess, secure in that way, as I'd say, just the people I'm close to. If I don't know you, I don't care about you. Like, I ain't got time to worry about what you say. But if you're important to me, you know, like those words are heavy to me, and it'll linger in my mind, and I'll overthink it, and I'll wonder, like, fuck, did I say something wrong? Did I do this? Am I bothering them? Like, fuck, I don't want to reach out. The podcast has actually helped me holistically in that way, because I hate to ask people for things without feeling like you said earlier, you know, like, can I do something for them?
Yeah.
So if I want to reach out to someone, I'm like, hey, do you want to be on the show? I'm like, what am I giving to them? Like, fuck, they're probably like, I won't be on your fucking show. Like, you nerd. Like, no one wants to be on that show. Like, who's even watching that? Like, here's some dude trying to do a podcast, and maybe they're, you know, no one said that to me yet, but you know, like the fighting through my own guilt, my own shame of like feeling like I'm burdening someone is still something I have to navigate today. So I can relate to a lot of those emotions. It's just interesting, man. The reason the only reason I asked what you thought drove you to that is because, again, I like to do the comparison of, like you said, you didn't come from maybe like this really broken home or an absent father, or, you know, you were living in next to a trap house because you were in a low income state, you know, like, so to me, it's my psychological mind just naturally is intrigued by the curiosity of what do you think drove you there? And then also it's to see how maybe aware you are to that in yourself. Maybe it's something you never even fucking thought about. Like, fuck, I don't even know. Like, where is domino 1 for me?
Yeah.
They started putting me towards that kind of group of people. Is it because, like, you know, ironically, as a father, he tells y'all don't do something, and what's the first thing they want to do?
Do it.
Right?
Press the red button. Press the red button.
Don't touch the stove. Don't sit there. Yeah. You know, so it's like, was it even maybe something so innocent as that then just, like you said, compounded over time? I mean, who knows? Again, it's just me, my curious brain.
What blows my mind is I think back on it and I'm just like, dude, people are dying to get out of that lifestyle, and you were chasing it. You were looking for it.
You were pursuing it.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you were going to the places that people were trying to escape. People are trying to leave the hood to go to the beach, to get a sense of freedom and mental clarity and feel good. And, this is freedom. And here I am trying to go to hell. It's like, I'm trying to take myself to the depths.
Yeah.
Like, willingly.
Yeah.
That's
crazy
as fuck. Like, here I am looking for that stuff. That blows my mind too. I'm like, what the fuck? There was clearly some type of pain that was going on. There was some type of turmoil that was happening within me to where I was running for more pain. I was running towards more pain.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing. I still look at it, and I obviously, you know, adversity and everything that go there, it's not there to break you. It's there to make you.
Yeah.
You know, and so in the end, it has made me. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't do all that crazy shit. So at some points I go, fuck, I'm so far behind. I'm 40 years old. Damn, you're just doing this video shit. All these kids do all this tech stuff. Like, I just know that I have to work that much harder because I want it that much more.
Yep. Because
time is of an essence. Time is really important. And I don't have as much as the guys that are 30 or 20 years old. I got a whole nother 10, 20 years on me. And if I want to beat them, then I got to work harder. I got to stay up later. I got to connect with people. And so
you also have things they don't have, which are the mistakes and the experience. That's not nothing. Right?
No, it's definitely not.
And so, like you said, though, you know, you wouldn't be the person you are without those things. So as much as it's to be like, God, Cameron, you're a fucking, like, internally telling yourself, like, you're a fucking idiot. Why'd you do all that shit? But like, then you wouldn't be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so as much as in the moment, it's like, I wish I hadn't wasted that time. It's like, but you did. So, but now what can you do with what you have left?
Mm-hmm.
Who can you be now? All right. And I think a lot of people just get wrapped up in that. Like, there's a good Joe Rogan thing. It's like, you aren't you before. You are who you are right now. Like, you're you right now. Like the person who was on drugs and emotionally all over the place and in so much pain that they could barely function in their life. Like, that's not you right now. You're you right now. The version of you that sits here with me today. Like, that's who you are.
Yeah.
Like, don't let the ideas of who you were before, the mistakes you made, or the bad choices that you regret impede who you can be today.
It's very true.
You think you have any like specific moment or anything that you were like, I gotta fucking get it together? Like anything that you can like look at a fight or
trying to make me cry right now?
a fight or a time you went to, you know, you got got arrested, or a certain conversation with someone that cared about you that really?
Yeah, I got into trouble quite a bit. I was lucky enough to not go to prison or anything like that, but I did get busted for possession for sales of methamphetamines. And, I was already getting into trouble. I was just getting by, hit by the police, or just barely somehow, like, there's always, that's why I have a huge faith. Like, I believe in God a bunch now. I have a huge faith because there was somebody watching over me, because I for sure wasn't watching over me. And somehow I was scaving,
just dodging it.
And, I finally got busted. That definitely was a rude awakening. And I had a good lawyer, luckily. I taught the kid his son how to surf and play basketball and things like that. So what would it cost me 10, maybe 15, 20 on up, it cost me $2,000.
Wow.
And this is one of the top criminal defense attorneys in the United States. And thank God for him. And thank God he went to bat for me, because instead of doing 2 years in prison, he got me out on 120 days of Caltrans, 960 hours of Caltrans, $5,000. I had to do a drug diversion program, and I had to test for 5 years.
Is Caltrans like community service?
Yeah, Caltrans, like on the side of the roads. You see those.
Yeah.
They see Caltrans. Well, obviously it's California, so you'd be different in your state, but every state has it, where you're seeing the people working on the side of the road,
picking up the
clean
trash,
ice, plant the trash, along those lines. I had 900. People would be complaining. They'd be like, I have 120 hours. Some people would be like, I have 60, I have 10, I have this. I'm like, I have 120 days. Which people in prison would be like, I do that for not being in prison.
Yeah.
It's all relative,
Yeah, 100%.
But that wasn't really the thing that really, that was one thing that really woke me up. But the thing that got me the most was, me and my brother were really tight. And, he always looked up to me. At least I think he did. And my dad used to tell me that.
That's what little brothers do.
Yeah. And, I went such down the rabbit hole of smoking crack. I was borrowing and stealing money from him, from my parents, robbing houses, stealing cars. I did it all. And I just got to such a low place that I was skinny as fuck. I was about 130 pounds. I was fucking raccoon eyes. Girls would still sleep with me. I don't know why. I don't know why. But for some reason that made me think that I wasn't that bad. I'm like, well, they're like, you look bad, you're skinny. I'm like, you just slept with me, so it must not be that bad.
Can't be that bad, yeah.
But what really got the light bulb on was everybody was, please quit. And I would try to quit for a day or two and go right back. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to quit. Give me $40. Just the constant drug lie and the bullshit that you tell people to continue to do your habit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't hit rock bottom yet, even though most people would look at it, all those things that I just named, as rock bottom. But one day I was smoking dope in my room. My friend, I won't name his name because I don't want to put him out there like that. It's not my business. But he came over to my house and he was there to smoke weed, and I was smoking dope. And I was like, where's my brother? And he was just like, oh, he's at a party. Well, at this time, my brother was very close to his group. He wasn't a type A personality like me who went to all the parties and socialized with everybody. He was the one who hung out at his house with his groups. They smoked weed. They did kind of beach stuff or whatever. And he kept it to that. He never went to the parties. And he was just like, I'm like, he went to a party. Well, he doesn't go to parties. He's like, well, yeah, you're really mean to him. Because I started fighting him then. He would just smile at me. And I was so whacked out of my mind, I would jump over the couches and start beating him up. Try not to cry right now because and I've cried about it a ton of times and I feel bad and we've resolved all this stuff, but it's painful shit because, when someone looks up to you,
yeah,
and you're their hero, it's quote unquote, or somebody they want to be like. And then you're a piece of shit to them for no reason because you're just so whacked. It's a tough pill to swallow even today.
Yeah.
I can't tell him sorry enough. I can't tell him how proud I am enough because I was really harsh to him. It's really hard on him. And so he didn't want to hang around. He's like, yeah, you're just really mean to him. He doesn't want to hang out with you. I was like, whatever, smoke dope. Fucking not feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Next weekend, different friend came over and said, I'm like, where's my brother? He's like, he's at a party. And I'm like, what? This fool doesn't go to party because you're on like reset mode with drugs.
Yeah.
I'm like, this fool doesn't go to parties. He's like, yeah, you're just really mean to him. And that hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Like, I don't know what it was. Out of all the shit that I've been through, that shit hit me like a ton of bricks. Remember, I went out to the front room. There was no cell phones at the time. pulled the landline up. You know, my parents were separated. Called my dad. It's the middle of the night and probably like midnight or something like that. And I was fucking bawling, like snot, everything. Couldn't even talk. He thought I was overdosing. He's like, "Are you overdosing? Do I need to call the ambulance? Like, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good, Dad. I'm good." I'm like, "Just get me the fuck out of here, dude. Like, I can't get clean, but I promise you, if you get me out of here, I can stay clean. I have the strength to do that. I just can't say no. You know, I can't take that day off, or I can't take more than 2 days off or 3 days. I'll just be drawn back to it. I need like a full separation.
Yeah.
I need to be in a good environment to get me there." And he said, "Don't worry, son. We're going to get you help." Took him about a week to get me find me a place. They found me a place in Taos, New Mexico. I had all my friends come together and write me a bunch of beautiful letters about how much of an amazing surfer I was, amazing athlete I was, to the darkness that took over and how all that stuff was taken away. It was a very emotional thing.
Yeah.
But it's what I needed to hear. I needed to hear that hard truth. You know, when your friends lie to you and they don't say what they really want to say to you because they think you're going to get mad or hurt your feelings.
Those aren't real friends.
Those aren't real friends. You know, it's when they tell you that shit that fucking hurts because that shit sticks.
Because it's true. And they care about you.
Yeah. And I smoked dope up until the morning of that thing. I remember I was so paranoid smoking dope that I fell asleep with dope in my hand, you know, because I thought my parents or my mom, because I was staying at my mom's house at the time, I thought my mom was coming downstairs. And so I pretend to be asleep and like pass out on the couch. Well, I actually fell asleep. And I wake up to my friend waking me up. And he's like, "Hey, here's a burrito. Everybody's waiting at the studio." I'm like, "Hold on, I gotta smoke this dope." That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
I was that far gone. And he was just like shaking his head. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna watch you smoke dope real quick. Smoke dope, get over there." I'm high, but still, I'm just so connected with myself. Didn't matter how high I was. I really felt every word that every one of those guys wrote me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some of those people I looked up to, they're surfers that I looked up to that I thought were better than me, and I wanted to be just like them. And for them to say the amazing things that I had done to all that shit taken away, that shit sticks with me till today. I remember word for word what they wrote to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was emotional. I got taken off to Taos, New Mexico, and I got help there. And in the rehab, they asked me, like, "Are you going to do drugs still?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to do the drugs that I was doing, but I'm going to smoke weed and drink." Well, we all know 12-step. If you touch anything, doesn't matter if it's alcohol, doesn't matter if it's weed, you're going to go right back to smoking crack and heroin and all that stuff that you did, which was your drug of choice. And I was convinced differently, you know, and my story is not something for anybody to follow. I tell you, if you have drug problems, if you have any addiction problems, stay clean. It's better for you.
Yeah.
Brain's going to be better for it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Even myself, even the smoking weed, like there's hindrances to that. There's lethargicness to that. I would say I'm a little bit different, you know, in the sense of like, it doesn't make me lazy or stop me, or I'm not less ambitious, but it does slow things down as anything, you know? So, but I told them I was in there for a month and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to continue to smoke weed and drink." And they're like, "Why do you think you can do that?" Well, my dad's best friend was an ex-heroin addict. His name was John Irwin. He's passed away. It's my best friend's dad. And, you know, he used to do heroin. He got busted robbing gas stations and convenience stores and stuff like that for his addiction. He ended up getting busted. He had to do 5 years in San Quentin. In San Quentin, he got clean from heroin. He got his PhD in prison. And then he got out. He ended up writing 33 books. He continued to smoke weed and drink until he found out that he had Hep C way, way later down the line. As soon as this is the type of discipline that this guy had, though. As soon as he found out he had Hep C, he quit drinking immediately, never picked up another glass of alcohol ever again. Not that he had a problem. He just was like, "Oh, okay, this is an issue. This is about my health. Cut." But he smoked weed till the day he died. And this guy had a PhD. He ended up starting a program that still exists today where he would acclimate convicts who were getting out, who had maybe served 15, 20, 25 years plus in prison, and now they were getting out. And so he had started this program that got him acclimated, got him a little pocket money, got him a job, got him a place to live, and teaching them like what's there to expect, because the world has changed in the last 15 years. And I thought, this is beautiful. Here's this guy who was down and out doing basically the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
Went to prison, went a step even further than me, but fully turned his life around and was extremely successful.
Yeah.
I said, if that guy can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. So
he's human, just like me. He's no God. He's not anything exceptional. He's blood, sweat, and tears, just like me.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Probably not the best example, and that's why I tell people, don't do this.
Yeah.
I've had other people try to follow what I'm doing and it sent them right back in their addiction because they heard my story. So I tell people, my story's not for everybody. I just knew myself somehow, and we'll say I'm lucky.
Yeah.
You know? So
I think you can kind of be able to navigate that. You thought I can do the same. I can make that active choice to hey, I'm still going to do things I enjoy, but it doesn't mean I have to ruin my life.
For sure. You know, I just felt like I'm in control here. Like these things aren't in control. It was in control, but I'm in a different place now.
Yeah.
But a month in, you're still whacked. You're still fresh. You don't really know. But there's this guy, Ken, who was a bodybuilder, 6'8", on dope. I don't know how, 270 pounds. This guy was a beast, and he was a professional bodybuilder, and he would lift with me. And my parents were like, we're not going to let you come home because you're going to go back to your drug of choice. They're telling us that you're going to do this, and that, and this is just not good. We're not going to let you come home. And I was like, I'll hitchhike home. And Ken pulled me to the side. He said, look, bro, you put your parents through hell. They've probably gotten the best sleep that they've ever gotten in this last month. You know, they probably didn't get any sleep for the last years that you've been going crazy. Just do another month. I don't know why I decided to do it for this man over everybody else in my life or even myself. But for whatever reason, I really looked up to him. Wanted to be like him. He taught me a lot of things in the gym. My dad taught me stuff in the gym, but this guy was a professional.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's helping me. So I'm like, okay, I'll do another month. And then another month comes up. They're like, are you going to continue to smoke weed and drink? I'm like, yes. They're like, you're not ready to come home. You're going to stay in there another month. And I said, no, this time I'm hitchhiking home. And piece of shit thing to do, but what kids do, if something happens to me, it's on you. Well, what the fuck? What is a parent going to do? They're going to let you come home, you know, because they're like, that sounds so much worse. So they took the risk, and lucky it worked out.
Yeah.
I didn't ever go back to any of that stuff. That was October 7th, 2004. That was the last time I ever smoked dope or did anything along those lines. And I've smoked weed and drank. And yeah, it was heavier. Obviously, when I first started, on the clean trip, it was heavier. But now where it's at, I barely ever drink anymore. I don't really care for it. If I do it, it's more or less like, hey, I really appreciate you. I haven't seen you in a minute and you want to go out and drink, I'll join you, you know?
Nice.
But I'm not like, hey, let's go drink. Let's go do this. I'd rather go film. I'd rather go do other stuff, lift. I'd rather chill, watch a movie.
Yeah.
That seems better to me. And even the weed smoking, it's gotten way, way less. And I've gotten to a point where at 40 years old, I'm just like, do I even really need this anymore?
Yeah.
And it's evolved over time. I've matured over time. And like I said, I wouldn't suggest that for people.
Yeah.
You know, I was just a very lucky case. And I knew myself very well, and I knew I had the strength to do that. But I took a huge risk. I could have gone back. I could have ruined a lot of people's lives, including my own, which is the most important, right?
Yes.
So
that was a lot, Big Dong. Damn, you just blew through 2 whole sections of questions. Well, so we're gonna jump pretty far after that. No, I think you said there a lot. One is just being able to know yourself. A lot of people don't, you know, and even in whatever distorted form that was, you know, you clearly did have some pretty solid idea of it, because obviously, like you said, just over now 20 years of being clean and not going back to that stuff. So yeah, I think like you said, there's just a level of awareness to it. In whatever way you fucking knew. So shout out to you, man. It's definitely not that's not an easy thing to know. I struggled with some addiction after having some knee surgeries, and just was already in a mentally vulnerable spot. And the pain pills helped take away more than the pain in my knee. And so, you know, it was only, you know, it wasn't for a huge long stem, but it was long enough to kind of shake my perspective on the world and realize what am I doing? I already had a kid. You know, my son was already 5-6 years old by that point. And, you know, I just was, like you said, kind of like we've hinted at earlier, there's just so much pain that had gone unaddressed, you know, for so long. The trash can had just kind of overfilled. Right. And I was literally laying there unable to even physically move myself for the better half of almost 9 months, because I had one knee surgery and then 10 weeks later the other one. So I was just lay down and continue to lay down. And again, so there's no you know, everybody's like, what's the moment? You know, and it was that question, but I think there are ones that definitely hurt more, but it's just a progressional bleed out per se, you know, and they're cuts or stabs that are a bit deeper that kind of get your attention, you know, hey, you're mean to your brother, you know, yeah, whatever. But then the second time it was no, they got it deep enough that time. Finally, you know, it got you a little more. And so there were things like that my friends would be like, oh, you know, what about your son or da. And then But then hearing it again later, you know, it would get me even more. But no, I mean, since then I've not drank on anything and got the better half of what years is now, 24, so almost 5 years.
Good for you.
You know, so like, but I knew myself. I knew I couldn't. You know, like I'm someone who's like you said, like I won't say no. Like I know that if I start, like I'm just gonna like roll, and I'll be right. You know, maybe not pills, but like I'll be drinking all the time, and I'll find myself, you know, then I get too drunk, and then fuck, next thing I know, I'm popping a few pills, and like, that's why I even take that risk for myself.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like, but that's me in my state of awareness enough to know, like, hey, I can't do that. You know, and
Know yourself.
Yeah,
truly know yourself, not how other people do stuff. Who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
You have to know yourself better than ever. So, because Johnny could be like, oh, well, I have no problem. I'll wake up the next day and not drink. Well, you're like, I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to drink. Or I'm going to want to. And I'm going to find some way or somebody to do it with me.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny won't. Johnny's good. Willie will.
Yeah, exactly. And then it came back to the comment you said earlier. It's like, you know, you are the person who's with you all the time. And so initially when I was like, no, I'm not drinking anymore, you know, I got a lot of flack. Oh, come on, man. Like, you're in a better spot now just to drink one. It's like, I just don't want to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll come out. And like, we can have a good time or I'll go out with you guys. But like, I don't need to drink. You know? And because I got comfortable with like not being too concerned with what anyone else had to say. Because again, like, I was like, I got to lay with me tonight. They don't.
Yep.
They aren't going to hear all these thoughts in my head all day, all week, all month. I am. So, because if I don't want to be tormented by that and bothered by it, well, then your one comment to the millions of times I'll hear it in my brain over the next few days is like minimal. It's almost negligent. Like, I don't give a fuck about your comment.
Insane asylum up there.
For real, bro. That motherfucker's loud, all right? Needs no help. But it's like, again, just like you said, perspective, like, man, like, fuck. David's comment about like, oh, you don't want to go out? Like, light work. As if I go out and I get fucked, this motherfucker is going to go crazy and he won't shut up. And so it's like, I always like tried to be able to use my negatives to make positives, right? It's to where some people see negatives as a hindrance. I always was like, how can I use this negative for my benefit? Like, I know that my self-talk is going to be shit. So like, I'll just piss off my friends.
Yeah.
And if they're really my friends, then they won't be pissed off anyway. So it's like there's a double-edged win for me. Like, one, I was like playing to my strength. It was really just not giving into the weakness. And then by consequence of that, I was just kind of ridding my life of people who weren't even really for me or didn't have the best interests in what I was doing or what I was trying to pursue going forward. So yeah, just, you said there, don't, you know, everyone's story is a little bit different. We got to all fit it to ourselves. You know? So yeah, anyone did that, like, just fit it to you, know who you are, know what you want, and you'll save a lot of time in your life and surround yourself with the kind of people you want to be like, and can stop chasing things that maybe aren't for you. Start asking yourself questions like, what do I want? Who am I? What are actually the things that are important to me?
Yeah.
If I could have the life I want, what kind of life would I pursue? You know, and if you start to like, men make the joke, like, ask a woman what she wants and she can't decide. And it's like, well, there are men who do it too. It's a people thing. It's not a gender-based issue. It's like, you really ask someone, what do you want? Oh, you know, yeah. I mean, why are you even worried about what I want? You don't even know. You know, because it is such a, people who can, it's so easy to complain or denounce or hate on what someone else does. Like, so if you could have what you wanted, what's the optimal scenario? Silence falls, because so few people have ever even thought in that manner.
They don't ask themselves that. Well, let's take the time. We rush through life and we got this thing and that thing to do, or other people to focus on, or other things to focus on. We don't really go inward. It's a constant escape of self. It's kind of crazy. You know, and even, you know, going, not to take too much time on me, on the stuff that I was talking about, but when I first, you know, got clean and I was navigating, still drinking and going out with my friends and kind of doing the weekend warrior stuff, you know, I was a world better, but if I'm being honest, I still had a lot of room to grow, and I still had to nip those quote unquote addictions, because they still were, my peers were all doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Every Thursday through Sunday going out. So it's like, am I really clean?
Yeah.
I'm clean from the things that were making me rob houses and steal cars and do certain things along those lines that were like crazy.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like the normal addict like everybody else, if I'm being really honest. But the thing that really changed my life was fitness and then the camera. But fitness, I started lifting, I started seeing results. And then people were like, hey, can you train me? Can I lift with you? I want to look like you. And I'm like, oh shit, like, I was doing this for me. I was making me feel good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm helping other people inadvertently. That's fucking amazing. Like, I have a sense of purpose now. Small,
Yeah.
but I have a sense of purpose. Like, people want to look like me. I don't know why. I don't think I look good. You know, we have body dysmorphia and shit. And, you know, I didn't think I looked good at the time. You know, but people are like, I want to look like you. Can I live with you? What do I do? What do I take? How do I eat? You know, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had purpose and it was positive purpose. I was helping people.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my life. I started noticing where Thursdays through Sundays were just normal to going out to now where somebody would ask me to go out on a Friday or Saturday, and I had gym plans at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and they would tell me one drink, and next thing you know, it'd be 7 a.m. and I'd fucking be snapping on them.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck, motherfucker? Like, why I told you I didn't want to go out, and I was making it about them. It was because of them that I wasn't being my best. No, it was me.
Still you. Yeah.
I was still choosing to be in that environment around people that wanted those type of things.
Yeah.
I had to start changing the people that I was hanging out with. Not completely, but I had to find new people that were doing the stuff that I was doing and wanted the same things that I wanted. You know, and, you know, it was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And people started kind of leaving me alone a little bit because they didn't want me to snap, you know, or like, leave him alone, leave big dog alone. He gets crazy. And if I was like, don't fuck with me, and people wouldn't fuck with me, but still had me. Didn't have full purpose. I could still party. I still look good, you know? And so, although I was evolving from the first state to now to this state, I wasn't fully truly there. Then at 30 years old, and this goes back to anybody that's trying to start a career or do anything in their life. It's never too late. It's never too late. I don't care if you're 40 years old. Start it. Like at 40 years old, I'm starting to do marketing, just diving into this. Yeah, I feel so baby-legged and, you know, like gazelle, just learning how to walk. I'm like, oh my God, what's all this jargon and stuff like that? It's overwhelming. I'm never going to learn all this. But I've learned quite a bit in a short period of time. But when I picked up the camera at 30 years old, I knew something was different. Now that purpose of helping other people, I was giving something to me. For the first time in my life, I was truly giving something to me. Because now, while everybody was out partying, I'm up in Big Sur all by myself with my dog shooting the Milky Way, you know, watching the sunset, just driving just to Big Sur 5 hours just to watch the sunrise. You know, I was obsessed. And I found a new addiction, an addiction that was positive, that made me feel good, that gave me purpose. And so I tell people all the time, like, how did you find what you found? I fell into it. You know, it was by accident. You know, as you know with the photos, a lot of people don't know that. I mean, that's a whole long story in itself. I won't go into it. But, you know, taking that picture of my brother-in-law surfing and getting the reaction that he gave me, which was, oh my God, I'm going to have this forever. This is the best present I've ever gotten. I'm going to have this forever. Light bulb went off. Going to go get a professional camera, even though I'm not a professional. I'm going to go all out because I'm an extreme person. And I bought that camera and everything changed. Yeah. People are like, let's go party. And I'm like, no. Because there were a few times that I did party, I didn't want to edit. I was rather hungover, but every day that I wasn't drinking, on my computer all day, first thing in the morning till the end of night, thinking about it, dreaming about it, you know? But as soon as I would touch anything, it would diminish that feeling and that love that I had for something that was giving me purpose. So I knew right there I was in conflict. Yeah. And I had to completely drift away. Now, I don't want to lose that because to me, socializing and connections and human, that's a big part of business. And, you know, some people don't have problems with alcohol and certain and drugs and things along those lines where they can play and completely separate and go back to work and it doesn't get in the way. Some people have that. I don't. I'm like, okay, well, we did one, let's do a Weekend Warrior, you know, like, and so, you know, it just, for me, it really, it changed things. I knew that, hey, this is what I love to do. And if this is what you love to do, well, then you got to make sacrifices on other things that you like to do. Yeah. For what's more important. And that was more important to me. Definitely. And so that's what I'm saying. It's all an evolution. Yeah. It's an evolution. You don't just, oh, I'm done. No, you have to know yourself and find these things and you have to go out and see. I don't know what you like. You know, you have to go out and experiment. Go play pickleball. Go play tennis. Go try everything. Because you might never know. Like, damn, I didn't know I like golfing. You know, I made fun of golfers. Actually, really like this.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't know until you go out and try it. It's like the person that says like, "Oh, I don't like sushi." It's like, "Well, have you ever tried sushi?" You're like, "No." It's like, well, "How the fuck do you know you don't like it?"
Yeah.
Huh?
No, 100%. There's a lot there, man. A lot that I have a lot of opinions on or agree with. I think we'll just start and work backwards. Is the progression of one state to another. It's like if you think about it logically and zoom out a little bit, you don't go from I'm 100 pounds overweight to I'm an IFBB pro bodybuilder just because you want to, or you get in the gym one day, right? You don't go from I'm on drugs to I'm a husband, I'm a father, we have a successful family in one day.
Mhm.
Right? These movements from A to B, there's hundreds and hundreds of micro actions, daily commitments, hourly commitments, and choices that you make over a course of weeks, months, and years that then go, oh, I'm only here, and the goal's still here. Right. So it's like for anyone, and this ties back to the difficulty with new things, is there's a certain level of uncertainty that we all feel with anything new, regardless of our age or our experience in anything. No matter if you're fucking Chris Bumstead, if I said, hey, like, come learn how to code, you know, he's going to be like, fuck, what's this lingo? What's the fucking keyboard? How do you command what? Select that? What the fuck's that shit mean? Because like, still new. Right. So no matter how good you are in one domain, it doesn't carry over. Now, it doesn't mean the skills, the discipline, the resilience, everything you have, you can't apply in this new space. And that's where people fuck themselves. They think, oh, I have nothing. It's like, no, you have a whole lot. Because this tool belt still carries over, just in different ways. But that uncertainty or overwhelmingness that you feel to this new thing, like that's how it's supposed to be. Because we're all people. Like we're all going to feel that. Again, whether I'm 25, 40, 62, like if you're pursuing something new, there's a level of uncertainty or doubt or angst, uneasiness, if that's even the right word or a word period, like that befolds you being in that space because you don't know anything. But how would you? It's not something you've done before. Right. So instead of like letting that reject you or take you away from it, realizing that like, well, that's what it's like to pursue something new. So nothing's wrong with you. You're not incapable or at a disadvantage. You're just like anyone else who started something new. And then, you know, kind of to the question I heard Shia LaBeouf answer it, and it was like, I don't know if you've seen that interview he did with, I forget the dude's name. It's a great podcast. The guy who plays, oh my God, fuck my brain.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
He was in like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff. He's he's plays kind of a thuggy guy.
Yeah.
Back area a lot of times, look Italian. I'm not
Was
sure
it
if
Walking
he
Dead too?
Yeah.
Anyway, he asked him, him and Shia LaBeouf were talking, and he said, like, when do you become a man? You know, and I love his answer, you know, because Shia struggled with drugs and, you know, ran his life around again, kind of inversely, like had money, was very successful, very young. How do you manage all the stress of that? You know, it's like, I don't think it really, again, I like to apply a lot of logic to things, though that doesn't transpire the best when feelings are involved. But I try to like, I like to say is, are we really surprised that a lot of these childhood stars find themselves in rough scenarios? I'm like, logically, no. It's like, how do you, an old man who's 60, who took 40 years of his life of hard work and commitment, and I came from nothing to now I'm finally 60 and I've made it, to like, I'm a 13-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, and I'm worth more money than almost anyone. It's like, yeah, you think that's gonna like, now you're managing the responsibility of all that. And then again, now you've had limited life experiences. How do you know when someone's trying to take advantage of you? Like, just logic. It's like, no, it's not that hard to assume that like how they get there. Anyway, point being is Shia's answer to the question was impactful to me, and I can almost quote it. And he says, it's like, when you start to take responsibility for someone other than you. See, so that's when you become a man. It's not when you turn 18 or you get a driver's license or you do anything else. It's when you start taking responsibility for someone else. You know, and he said for him, it was like, I didn't become a man until I was like almost 30 when I got married.
Yeah.
Because I was now responsible for my wife. And I had to take care of her and look out for her and make sure we were good. It was no longer just about me. Because when it was me, I couldn't give a fuck. I'd go get drunk. I'd go get high. I'd go do whatever. It didn't matter. You know, and I look at my own life and I'm like, well, when did I become a man? It's like, well, when I had my son. It's before then I didn't care. I think it was, you know, whatever. It's just my life. It's just me. Fuck it. But now there's this person who can't think or make decisions for themselves. And the expectation is for me to do it. Well, and if I can't even fucking take care of me, well, how am I going to take care of that person?
Yeah. It's accountability.
Yeah. But you know, so it's something I like to sit on and really think on a lot. It's like, well, what are the moments or the experiences that really make us a man? You know, and like, what does that look like? And how do you become that? And if you flip it around and go like, oh, I want to be a good man, it's like, well, then you're going to have to be able to handle a lot of shit. you know, and so it's not going to come easy. It's not going to be this like, again, I'm a weak boy who's scared, who can't speak up for himself, but then also be cognizant of his emotions enough to navigate them and then output that in a positive manner. When am I violent? When am I not? When is it worth it to speak out of my ass or to throw the first punch or throw a punch at all or say anything at all? Where's the threshold of line for value add to me and my family for that? First, most of the time, you have to get to the point where you realize that there is something outside of you, right? And it's like, that's progressional too. Like, you're not going to go from I'm ignorant to anything other than myself or even myself to I'm this all-aware, mindful individual. It doesn't happen like that overnight either.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of funny because it just made me think of something. It's like I used to. I don't want to like to say I would call myself a victim, but I remember saying to my pops at certain times when I was younger, I'd be like, "Why is this shit happening to me?" It was like the poor me type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
The shit's happening to you because of you. Like, yo, bro, take a look in the mirror. A lot of the shit that goes on in our lives is because of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the more we take accountability and responsibility for that, the more we start stepping into this more mature side of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When you start being like, instead of like, why would they do that to me? Or, well, forget why they would do that to me. What did I do to allow certain things in that space? What role did I play in that?
Mm-hmm.
How could I be better? I think these are the questions that we really need to start asking ourselves.
Yeah.
When it comes down to life situations, or where it's like, why me? It's not why me. It's like you've dealt with situations in life. You're not a victim.
Yeah.
It's how do you grow and progress when life hits you, when people hit you.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, the why me thing is normal. It's easy. Your brain's built for the path of least resistance. It wants to seek the easiest way. It's why, like, if you're someone who can, like, I can lay on the couch and be comfortable. Good. Your brain's normal. The people who are like, I have to do something. I have to be working. I have to be moving. Like, we're a little fucked. Our brain doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, kind of envious of the people that it does do that for. I wish sometimes that I could just cut this motherfucker off and he'd stop screaming so loud.
Yeah.
The moment I sit down, you're falling fucking behind. They're all passing you. You're a weak bitch. Like, I wish that wasn't what was in my head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love the success that I have and the rate I'm able to grow and achieve things because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, again, if you're having the why me, it's not that anything's wrong with you, but again, like I said earlier, I always like to use my negatives to my advantage. So when something bad happens to me, I go, what am I going to get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
What can I gain right now?
Yeah.
What can I learn? Because clearly there's something I need to get that I'm not going to get anywhere else other than this tougher circumstance. So what am I missing? What do I need to get that I keep ignoring? Because I think life, God, whatever your personal take on it is, when you don't get something, it's like the lesson in school. Like, you have to pass the lesson to move forward in life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you continue to ignore it, like, no, I don't need that, like, it's going to find its way right back in the front.
Sure.
And you know, so, and again, I just like to think instead of why me, like, again, focusing on what, one, your inputs were. So maybe it wasn't like, was this something that just happened? Is this life just happening? Because it's not biased. It doesn't care who you are.
Yeah.
And there's no amount of money nor success that will stop it from happening to you. As much as that would be great, it's not real. All that would make success and having money and fame worth pursuing if it was the case, but it doesn't. You know, at the end of the day, everyone you love and care about is going to die, including you, you know, and nothing you can do is going to stop that. And you can't stop the bad things from happening. So, but all that to simplify down and say, focus on the things that you can control. If you have an input in those things, well, what can you do? Maybe life dealt you this bad situation, but what can you do now to maybe make it just a little bit better? Or what now can you learn so that you can navigate the next situation? And instead of in that moment be like, this is the worst thing to ever happen to me, I always tell people, it's like, but you don't know what three things from now are going to be. So maybe this one thing that's like, oh, fuck, this is horrible. Yeah, okay, great. It is horrible. Not dismissing the struggle or the hardship for you, but now maybe the hardship is going to push you into such a low point that you're going to have to figure some things out that you've been avoiding in your life, which is then now 3 things from now going to protect you until you get your shit together a little bit more and you finally, you know, dress up your resume like you could and you actually bump into someone because you're being intentional. And now you have actually start to build that network of people. And if you look at what's the leading domino is that really bad thing that happened to you.
Yeah.
So when you were bitching about it and you didn't know 3 things, 5 things, 10 things from now what it was going to give you, or 10 years from now.
Well, when we face adversity and when we go through trials and tribulations, the immediately think is like, why is this fucking happening to me? But those are the moments in life that we need more than ever, because that's where you go deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you really find what you're made of.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you start asking yourself those more important questions.
Yeah.
That's where you get to the answers you're looking for.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through hell and back to see the light.
Yeah.
The darkness doesn't exist without the light. Light doesn't exist without the darkness. Yeah. You have to have both. You wouldn't appreciate that light and have that burning desire to get back there if the dark didn't exist, right?
Yep.
And so that's what the darkness, it's a blessing too.
It is.
It's a blessing.
I posed this idea to a friend of mine recently. I said, the world is better because evil exists. And I used the same perspective. I said, because if it didn't, you wouldn't appreciate the people that were so loving and so genuine and so kind. And you don't need a whole lot of bad people. Just even a little sprinkle of them that are truly, vile and malicious and willing to harm you makes you appreciate the much greater, larger percentage of people who aren't. Mm-hmm. But it's only because of that existing that you can appreciate it. And to the other portion of what you said there, I think, again, this is me maybe trying to over-logic my way through life, but I'm amazed by how many things it exists in. And it's like, if you want to get faster, how do you get faster? You have to run as hard as you can for whatever capability you have, and then go a little harder. How do you get bigger in the gym? Well, you don't lift the weight you know you can lift. Mm-hmm. You go just to the edge of what you can handle, and you go a little further. How do you grow as a person? Well, it's harder it's not as easy to tell. What can I handle? So life usually throws you more than you can handle. Yeah. And so by taking that on and bearing it, and though there, maybe some cuts, wounds, scars present, like overcoming it, now you're better because of it. Like, how, and then it's like, well, that's unfair. It's like, well, yeah, but like, who the fuck are you to think you know what you need? Yeah. To get better. Mm-hmm. It's not like the gym. We're like, oh, I can curl 20s. Like, well, let me see if I can curl 25s. Life doesn't fucking work like that. Mm-hmm. Like you said earlier, with like oh no, my parents divorced, didn't fuck with me. It's like, yeah, okay. How the fuck do you know? Who are you? Like, what kind of, it's just like, it's baffling to even assume that again, but that's with like time and perspective. Yeah. But I use those analogies to say, like, I think you can apply that to anything in life. Yeah. Is that like the version of you are now isn't the final version of you. And if you believe that, we got to have a separate conversation. I don't have time for that. I do, but not on this podcast. But there's more to you there than what you think. And the only way to find it is to pursue it. So how strong can you be? Well, start picking up some weights and you can find out. And then you'll find the more you continue to pick up the weights, the stronger you could get. It's true. How honest of a person could you be? Maybe you're someone who can't tell the truth. Start telling the truth despite the discomfort. Maybe it's only one every 5 times or every 10 times. Maybe you can get to one once every 4 times, one every 3 times, and then eventually get to a point where it's always the truth. Yeah, because it's incremental. But like these ideas of like this quick fix or this fast thing, it's like that's not life. And in no realm of your life is it that way. You didn't go from I couldn't take a photo to people are paying me to take photos. It was, well, I took a less shitty photo and then a less shitty photo and then now these photos are great. Well, and as you know, like in life, when you're given something for free, you appreciate it because I appreciate you, right? Mm-hmm. But it kind of stops there. Yeah. You don't really appreciate it that much more unless like, it was a gift from your father and he passed away and like, okay, this is the only thing I have left. But that's why it means something because of the pain and the hurt and the so much more attached to it than just what he gave you. Yeah. It's like, he's no longer here. This is the last memory I have, It's really, life, we need the hard stuff. Like, I kind of look at life now, and it's kind of at 40 years old, it's taken this long to realize this, and it's been evolving over time. But now I look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm down and out. I'm going through this, whether it's a relationship problem, it's financial stuff, work things, or creative hindrance, whatever it is. I don't look at it as like, poor me, oh, this sucks. I'm just like, okay, you're going through it, brother. Like, life's testing you right now. What do you got? Yeah, how are you? How can I grow? What do I need? Like, what more can I get from this? How do I be better? Yeah. I can be better. Okay. This is not working out. What do I do differently? Mm-hmm. These are the things you need to start telling yourself rather than be like, oh, but fuck it. It's all done. I'm just going to go drink. I'm just going to go do drugs. Let's go out with my friends. Ignore it. No, that's the time when you should be buckling down. Well, people do that because that's what's easy. Yeah. It's easier to face it. It's easy. Like, oh, I can go have a few drinks and I'll forget about this till tomorrow. Oh, yeah, but guess what? When you wake up tomorrow, you feel like shit. you're a little hungover. That motherfucker's still right there,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that can be weeks, months, years, your whole fucking life if you let it be.
Mm-hmm.
But like this, it was like, again, my curiosity goes, well, why won't it go away?
Yeah.
Well, because that means there's a reason.
Yeah.
You know? And so for anyone, if you're in a tough time or you feeling sorry for yourself or whatnot, then maybe there's a better version of you that can exist. And maybe,
There definitely is.
just maybe, you're the reason that version of you isn't coming to light. Maybe life's dealt you some unfortunate things. It's dealt us all unfortunate things. Again, she, I call life a she. I think it's fitting. But she's not biased. She doesn't care. She doesn't have anything personal to you. She doesn't give a fuck. And she'll fuck you just like she'll fuck the next one. And she's going to fuck someone else. And it's not personal. You know? And it's really, if you let it be, it's really going to be for your benefit.
It's true.
And there's more for you and the people around you that could come from it if you're willing to bear it. It doesn't mean it's easy. The vices and the talking to other girls or doing the drugs or going out with your boys and drinking and like that's all easier and it feels way better in the moment.
Yeah,
It's not gonna make it go away.
But you wake up the next day and
It's still there.
who's there?
Yeah, ready.
Yeah, life is the hard times, man. They're everything to life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I look at them as like this is a blessing.
The best parts of my life, honestly.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, give me the fucking hard shit. Yeah, I can't wait for fucking pain and struggles and trials and tribulations. Fuck no, I don't. I want it to be easy. I want it to be fun and hanging out and all those things that we all want, right? But I don't internalize. I don't go deep enough unless life is hitting me, because that allows me to be the best version of myself. At least that's how I am. You know, now at 40 years old. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. It was, why me? Let's get fucked up. Let's do drugs. Let's check out. Let's run from me.
Yep.
Now I'm like, cool. Thanks for fucking allowing me to show up some more. I really like going through adversity because it makes me a better person. You know, I hate losing people, but every person that I've lost has made me appreciate every person that's still alive that much more. It's made me put that much more time and emphasis and effort. Sometimes I'm so busy and someone calls me and they're like, I need to talk to you. I don't have fucking time to talk to you. That's when I go, yeah, you do. The fuck are you? You're too busy to talk to somebody. What happens if they don't wake up? What happens if you don't wake up? What are you going to feel then?
Yeah.
You're going to feel a lot of regret because you know what? You felt that. So you know what that feels. So you can get ahead of this.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's certain people that I come across, they haven't lost people. And so they take people for granted.
Yeah.
They take the nice shit that they do for them for granted. They don't appreciate it. They walk all over it because they haven't really lost the people that meant something to them. But that's a rude awakening. And I hate that I've had to endure that. But it's also made me who I am. It's given me the character who I am. It makes me make the time for other people, even when I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because we all think we don't have enough time. You do have time.
You have the time. And unfortunately for those people, their time will come. They will lose somebody that means so much to them or has been there for them, and then they will care.
Yep.
You know, so it's unfortunate, and not to sound like they're gonna get it, but like we're all gonna get it.
Yeah, you don't want them to go through it. Like I literally sometimes I'm like, oh, you just fucking wait. When someone's really nasty to me, really fucking hard, and I'm just trying to show up and be as loving and caring and do anything and everything for me, because I'm like that. You know, if I love you and I care for you, I'll do anything for you. Anything, you know, whether you do the same for me in return. I don't do, oh, you're doing me wrong. Well, then I'm going to meet you where you're giving it. No, I'm going to continue to show up, and I'm going to be loving, and I'm going to continue to help you, and I'm going to continue to listen to you. I'm going to continue to take that phone call because that's who I am. And that's who I want to be at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned there, as you've kind of coped and experienced the loss of loved ones, how have those experiences shaped your understanding on the personal growth side?
How have they shaped my understanding in what sense?
Like in kind of like that sense of maybe gratitude, or whether you've grown from it. Maybe not initially, but with time and some perspective to it.
Yeah, you know, first major death was my cousin Monique. She was killed by a drunk driver. She was famous. She used to dance with Prince, and she's very much so in the scene before all the social media and all that stuff was even close to existing. You know, this is in the 90s, and she was getting out on the driver's side with her friend, and a drunk driver came and hit her, and it was a hit and run. They never found the guy. And me and my family were just very close. All of our friends came to my house. All the relatives came to the house. And when she died, I saw the impact that it had on, you know, my aunt, her mom, my dad, just kind of everybody. Everyone started that glue started to kind of go like this. And here we were, those so tight. And it just, even at a young age, it just made me like really appreciate people.
Mm-hmm.
It really made me appreciate time. You know, of course I went through the craziness and I was still do all the wild stuff, but it just made me appreciate people. And, you know, I lost a lot of friends in high school, whether it was drug overdoses or, you know, one was leukemia, friends like parents that were like aunts to me. You know, I lost a lot of people at a young age. I found a dead body, going surfing, a lady washed up on the shores. And so death has not been foreign to me. And I think that it's been so prominent and so real in my life. It's really made me appreciate people. It's really made me appreciate every fucking moment. And if I don't, I remind myself, what are you doing? They could be gone. You could be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the type of person you want to be? Is that how you want the last conversation to go? All these things, they haunt me a little bit. And I'm grateful that they haunt me because that allows me to be a better human being. That allows me to be a better brother, a better friend, you know, a better son. It really does.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that understanding of how precious every moment is, you know, I don't think I would be the person I am today. One of my best friends, he was the first person. This was right at the beginning of COVID, and it just started, or like right before COVID, literally right before COVID. Those like months leading into it. My friend Sean Bagley, and this is a guy I hung out with more than my brother, 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. We'd go to the gym, we'd work out, and this was one of the things that really impacted me, and this is why it haunts the fuck out of me, because this is going to make me emotional, because he was kind of going through some shit, struggling with some addiction stuff, not like heavy, but like he would go on like a bender and then be super good and be working out with me. And then he'd hang out with the wrong people, go on a little bender because he was feeling down and out, whether it was his relationship that he was going through or whatever. And I remember I was fucking in a bad mood and I was fucking snapping on him. And instead of him snapping back on me or saying, fuck you, like he just was like, yo, what's going on, dude? Like, are you good? He could have made it all about himself, but he made it about me, selfless, you know? And he's like, you good, dude? Like, I'm here for you. Like, if you need to talk or anything like that. And I was like, nah, dog, I don't need to fucking talk. You know what I mean? Like, push him off. 2 weeks later, he overdosed and died. And I didn't really talk to him. That was kind of the last situation that I had dealt with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had other conversations, but it was very light. What up, homie? And I didn't really address that issue or how I reacted to him. And so I have that sitting on the back of my head. You know what I mean? How I treated him last, really, without even addressing it or apologizing, you know, and here he was trying to show up. He could have made it about himself. He could have been selfish like most people are. Like, fuck you then, you know? He didn't do any of that. He was concerned about how I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then he passed away. And so that haunts me, but it haunts me for the best reasons. Now I'm a better friend because of it. Now I'm a better listener because of it. Now I can show up better for people because I know a week, 2 weeks, the next day, everything can change. And then right after that, my brother-in-law died, overdose. And then, you know, over the whole course of COVID, which not one person went from COVID, but people from drugs, cancer, brain aneurysms. I had 30 friends that passed away. Damn. You know, some were extremely close to me. Some were, you know, acquaintances that were still, I had very meaningful conversations with. I felt like we were close. Yeah, we didn't hang out every day, but I saw them maybe every weekend, every other weekend.
Yeah.
So it was still tight enough.
Yeah,
You know, and some people were like, well, were you tight with them? Like, was it your brother? Was it your best friend? I'm like, that doesn't fucking matter. I had a relationship with them that was deep and impactful to me. You don't know my relationship with them. And so just because I've lost 30 people doesn't mean those people meant nothing. All those people meant something for what they were in my life.
Yeah.
And so losing that many people was just like, my life has changed because of that.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of the friends that I had. You know, I have a ton of friends and I have a ton of amazing friends. And I'm glad that my network is so huge. And I take the time to really cherish and make those relationships meaningful by the conversations and the depth of conversations that we have. But that changed me.
Yeah.
You know, that was very fucking tough. And I don't wish that upon anybody. I hope you don't lose one person, but we're all going to lose people. So show up every single day with love, compassion, understanding, being vulnerable, take accountability. If you're wrong, man, own up to it. Apologize. Let them know how that something made you feel, and sorry if this made you feel, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, ego, man, pride. I really tried to put the death to my ego. I make mistakes. I'm human, but I try to correct. How fast do you catch yourself? How fast do you come back? It's the bounce back. I think a lot of things, 100%. I don't know if it was Lewis Howes or somebody said, but it's like, it's in the recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can make a mistake, but how fast do you come back from it? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? Is it a year?
Yeah.
Or is it the next day? Or is it hours? You can make a mistake as long as you show up and you rectify those mistakes.
I agree. It's another one that I'm fixated on. Again, and I think it literally applies to everything in your life. It's like, you can't prevent making mistakes in your life. If you're the best photographer, you're going to fuck up. You're going to blow out an image. You're going to do whatever, but it's how quick can you fix it? Is it the next photo? Is it the next shoot? Is it 3 weeks from now? Because you're too unwilling to admit that you did fuck it up or whatever else. And it's like with bodybuilding or being super fit. It's not that I still don't like to eat shit food. It's just like, I can go right back to a good meal, the next meal. Right. And for some people, it's like, oh, that next meal becomes 3 weeks or 6 months or 5 years from now. Now you've gained 70 pounds and you're like, where'd my life go? It's like, how quick can you, again, not that you're not going to still eat shit sometimes, or that life's not going to happen in there maybe a few days where it's a little out of your control. And so you still got to eat, but maybe the options aren't great or convenience outweighs mindfulness to diet. And it's like, but again, how fast can you go back to business as usual? Not how can I not fuck up? It's like, yeah, no. Like, again, it was me. It's like reversing. It's like, well, if I fuck up, how quick can I go back to doing what I know I should do? If I eat off plan or if I miss a workout, how quick can I be back in the gym? How quick can I get back on plan? Right? If I don't handle a conversation the best way, how quick can I have a better one the next time? You know?
It's not over.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh, fuck it, I made one mistake. Might as well just fuck it all off. No.
Yeah.
Come right back. You made a mistake. That's okay, dude.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. Bounce right back.
Yeah.
Okay, you're an addict. You've had 2 years of sobriety and you took that drink or smoke or whatever it was. Okay, don't beat yourself up. You made a mistake.
Yeah.
Get right. Tomorrow's the next day.
Yeah.
That was one mistake. You don't need to continue making that mistake because you made one. You're not your mistakes. It's how you come back from those mistakes. That's what really defines you.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's a lot there, man. I like that. But yeah, just don't get too wrapped up in the mistake or the fuck up. And to the lost part, I think, like you said there, like it gives you the ability to look back and go like, okay, I don't need to be such a prideful asshole. I need to be able to tell people, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I need to be able to tell people, hey, I appreciate you. Hey, thanks for asking about me yesterday. I just, man, dealing with shit and, my bad. Right? But it's only because of the fact that now you have the inability to ever say that to someone that's so prolific and prominent for you to be like, if that were the case now, how quick could you fix it? The next time you talk to someone, hey, man, the other day, my fault, bro. Yeah. I was just stressed, whatever. Like, no good excuse, but like, hey, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Versus, but again, it's like, how did I get that? I get that because I know in some instances I'll never get it.
Yeah.
So it makes me have the appreciation for the fact that I still can do it now. And I think a lot of people look at death as, or losing someone in this, again, it is horrible and hard. But there's a lot that you can, again, if you just change the perspective, alter the way you think, there's something that you can take away from it to make you better.
That's very true.
And whether that's, the ability to apologize, And for me, it's like the ability and how I live my life now. So, like I shared with you that day, the story about my friend Colin. You know, he's inspired me to live my life in a way that I can be proud of, and more importantly, that can have an impact on everyone around me. You know, but it's only because I've like lost that and seen it and seen the impact that he had collectively and how many people were, you know, were impacted by him and who he was as a person, that I'm like, that's the kind of impact I want to have. And it's only because I don't have him now that I was able to see that and realize like, oh shit, like, is that the life I'm living? Fuck no, it's not. Okay, how do I live that life?
Yep.
And then the portion we mentioned earlier that I kind of got, I mentioned is the helping others in purpose thing. I think that kind of falls to that consequence of, you know, how, like, what is a man? I think it's like someone who can find purpose and the value in truly helping other people. Because you realize that, like, Will Smith said it. I heard this quote at 15, and it was like, blew my mind. And I've been able to hold on to it for better have 15 years now. As he said, I've made more money than most people will ever know what it feels like to have. I've ridden in the cars. I've bought the homes. I've been to the parties. He said, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, there's nothing more impactful than being there for someone else. Being able to do something for someone else, you know, help them, motivate them, inspire them, just any kind of usefulness to them is the most impactful thing I've ever experienced. And there's nothing else in this life like it. And, you know, those people who are often like, I can't find fulfillment in anything or happiness in anything. It's like, what are you doing for anyone else? Because right now it's just about you.
Yeah, because if you're being selfish and all you're doing is doing it for you, that's not very fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's being of service, man. At the end of the day, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
And we talked about this the first day you came here. I tell people all the time, like, you want to have purpose in life? Be of service. Give back. Help others. Go down to the homeless shelter. Go down to homeless feeding. Like, feed them. See what you have.
Yeah.
See how grateful you are. Like, it'll put gratefulness back in your soul.
Yep.
You know, once you start realizing, oh my God, I had so much. The simple fact that, man, if you have a roof over your head, a bed to sleep in, and a full belly, and you have love from people, you got it all.
Yeah.
The problem is we're sold the lie that we don't have enough and that we need more. And what does that do? It creates a selfishness within self where I need more. I need more money. I need better cars. Oh, this car's not good. No, you have 4 wheels. You know how hard it is? You ever taken the bus? You ever walk to work? That shit sucks.
Tennis shoe express, boy.
Yo, man. And so, you know, but we take these things for granted and we're like, well, if I don't have the G-Wagon, if I don't have the Porsche, if I don't have this, so I'm not good enough. You know, it's like, and then it's me, it becomes you.
Yeah.
You know, but as soon as you start getting outside of you and you start showing up for other people, you know, the simple things of, hey, waving to someone, hey, how's it going today? Just a simple hi, man, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, extending a helping hand, going to homeless feeding, help your mother out with something, help your brother out with something when they didn't expect you to do that. Hey, I want to pick you up from the airport. Little things like that, they go a long way. And that's a being of service.
Yeah.
And that can make you feel you're benefiting from that too.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, oh shit, like I'm helping somebody. I feel good about myself.
Yeah. And for anyone who maybe thinks differently, I can tell you, I come from a very unsuccessful background. No one or anything in my family has done anything of honorable mention in the slightest bit. And as I started to accumulate a little bit of success, I've bought the watch, I've bought the car, I've even bought the home, and none of that stuff makes you feel as good as you think it does.
For a little bit.
Yeah, it's like insane.
You got the dopamine.
Yeah.
The dopamine, we chase that dopamine, right?
Yeah.
But those are short-lived dopamines.
Yeah.
Those aren't ones you've earned or you've given back to where it truly sticks.
Yeah. And, you know, the irony is what I've told my therapist prolifically over probably the last 8 months is like, I'm finding I need less and less and less than I ever would have thought. Like the things I actually really care about or want or, you know, think I need, it just continues to decrease, you know? But again, it's only because like I bought the watch and then, you know, after a few days I was like, fuck, why did I buy this? Like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, why? You know? But like I made myself keep it because it's like, this is your reminder. If this mistake only cost you 10 grand and you can get this skill and this like value of life, like you spend a lot more still not to figure it out. So let that be your lesson. Every time you wear that watch, look, and then I'm down to say that, like, hey, it's not, don't treat yourself, don't get yourself things you want. But again, it's like back to the idea we posed earlier. It's like, knowing yourself. Why do you want this thing?
Why do you want it?
You know, do you want it because you think it's going to help you get bitches? Do you think it's because, like, you're going to impress other men, or, you know, because it's going to give you some status of some kind? Or is it just because, like, oh, I want a Rolex because my dad used to wear Rolex? You know, if it's coming from something genuine or rooted in something a little bit more impactful or meaningful, then, like, hey, do that thing. Buy the car. Right? Your dad used to work on Corvettes together. You want a Corvette? Go get that fucking vet when you can.
Yeah.
Do it. But it's going to mean more to you because it's rooted in something. Versus if it's, bitches like Corvettes. Guess what?
And you're only doing it for the bitches.
Yeah. Or because, oh, dude, see me pull up in a Corvette. They think I got it like that. Like, they don't give a fuck, bro.
Yeah.
It's just you. Like, you think they give a fuck.
Yeah.
And the bitches don't give a fuck either. Because the right type of woman isn't going to care if you walk into work or if you got a Ferrari in your garage. Right? And
I can't remember what one of the three things, but I think it's for women, like one of the things that it intrigues them the most is kindness.
Yeah.
How you treat other people, you know, and how you show up with other people.
Yeah.
It's one of the main things that really draws them to the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Is how they treat and how they show up for other people. It's the kindness.
Yeah. Well, because it ties to safety for them. They want to know that, like, they can feel safe with you. And if you can't control your emotions, your actions, your physical behavior, great. It looks real hot when it's on somebody else, but when it's on you or on her, right? It's not so cute or hot. And it's not so, oh, he's the best guy ever now. Right. And inversely, it's like, Jordan Peterson talked about this. It's like, why is that such a prominent thing for women? It's like, because ideally, later in life, it's going to be a child. This child isn't going to know how to regulate itself or whatever. That child's going to hit you in your face or something or do something it shouldn't. And, like, can you control yourself?
Yeah.
So it's not even solely subjectively for them, but it's for the, like, consequential, like, down the line thing of, well, could you handle a small human who has no idea or understanding of these things and be able to control yourself? And I think a lot of people just overlook those little things that really do, like, compound into bigger things.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this with some friends of mine. It's an intriguing topic that I love to bring up with men and women is, you know, like, in regards to, like, fidelity. And it's like, do you have a faithful man or do you have a man that no one wants? Did you marry Brad, who was the really overweight, not that good looking dude? And you're like, oh, he's so faithful. It's like, no, nobody wants that dude. It's like, because it's like, if they're, again, like, if you haven't been tested to see, are you faithful? Like, are women approaching you and you can turn them down? Well, that's not you being faithful. That's nobody wants you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like, nah, bro, you just, what's the right way to phrase this one? Like, do you have self-control or not? And it's like, or are you willing to be violent or not? People are like, nah, man, it's just not worth it. It's like, no, even if you had to fight for your life, you wouldn't, because you're a coward. It's like, you don't have self-control. You're just a coward. You're like, people fight over anything nowadays. It's like, no, I mean, yeah, some people do. And a lot of people don't have self-control, but in the right scenario, you wouldn't anyway, because you really don't have self-control that you're selling it. You're just weak and a coward. It's like, so now you just get to judge around everyone else. But really, if it was like, I have to protect my family or not, like, you'd be the dude. It's like we have that meme running around where it's like, this dude runs up on a chick and, like, the guy runs away.
Yeah.
He goes like, take it. And the dude's like, God, or the guy's just with, like, bolts, you know? And it's like, you know, there's these analogies. I think that it's like, do you actually have the certain thing or the skill or the whatever it is, or are you the inverse of it? And you're just claiming that because you haven't been put in the scenario to actually test it, you know? Like, I'm an ugly dude. Like, I'm a faithful man. It's like, nah, bro, there's no bitches want you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not faithful, though, bro. Like, but hey, you know when you're faithful. Like, if girls are knocking on your door trying to get at you, and you're like, nah, I got my girl at the house. I don't play that. That's a faithful dude.
It's righteous, dude.
Tommy, you're 450.
It's hard to find human being in this day and age, you know?
It's like, bro, you're 450 and struggling to get around. Bitches ain't knocking on your door, big dog. You don't know what you don't know what it's like to be faithful because you've never been tested.
Yep.
So are you faithful, or are you just a gross looking dude, or do you really have self control, or are you really just a coward? You know, and it's like Jordan Peterson's like, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. It's like, are you the gardener, claiming that you're the warrior, or you've just never been put in a position to fight?
Exactly.
And a lot of motherfuckers are the gardener. They want to be the warrior, but they don't want to be tested.
No, of course.
You know? And it's like, everybody wants what you have. No one wants to do the work in order to have it. Everybody wants to be jacked. You ask who wants to be fit. Everybody's got their hand up. Who wants to be rich? Hands go up. Who wants to grind their ass off? Who wants to work till they pass out? Maybe not literally, but sometimes like you got so many projects you're working on that you're asleep at the keyboard, or like, people don't want to do that.
No. My brother was funny because doing the videos. A lot of people do video now, but I remember when I was really going to town on this one before I even did video, I did photo. My brother's like, "Let me see you edit a photo." I edited it. It took me maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was, for that single photo. There's a lot of work to be done on it, and he was, I'd fucking lose my mind. Perfect example. It wasn't worth it to him.
Yeah.
But for me, I was willing to sit there all fucking day.
Exactly.
And I tell people like, "Oh, I want to do what you do." I'm like, "You sure?"
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a fucking lot.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with getting to the point where you're just, hey, that's not for me. It's just, well, guess what? Like, it's not. But again, like, there's nothing that like being in shape looks really cool, and it's dope. Like I'm not gonna like give it up, but it's not like this. If it's hard for you, like that's okay. If it's not as easy, right? Relatively, like it's not easy for anyone, but like you gotta like know you gotta know what you can do. Like if you go fucking home, you ain't going to the gym. I'll go fucking home first.
Yeah.
Like again, like that was always my thing. Is like work around my disadvantages. Use my well, if I don't know what I'm good at, well, what am I bad at? Don't do that then. I know if I go to the house, I'm gonna lay down, I'm gonna cut the TV on, I'm not gonna get to the gym. All right, bet. I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
Don't go home. Bring the clothes with me to work so that when I get out of work, I can go to the gym. So I know if I go home, we ain't working out.
Yeah.
Like work to your disadvantages. All right, well, I'm not gonna study if I go out. Don't go out. You know what you're bad at? I go out, I'm gonna have a few drinks, I'm gonna sleep tomorrow. I'm gonna do. All right,
there's always a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way. If you have trouble waking up, don't hit the snooze button. Okay, well, it's so easy right there. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, put your phone across the fucking room.
Yeah, so you got to get up.
The most annoying alarm on. Your ass has to get up, and then at that point,
you're already up. It's a choice now to lay back down.
Yeah.
Like, and that's you gonna choose that?
Yeah.
And like with me with running, it was like I can't run like a loop. Like some people can like run a couple miles and pass their house again. I'm like, nah, if I pass the house, I'm going in.
Yeah. I'm back.
Yeah.
Finish line.
I'm done. It's like supposed to be a 10-mile run. It's like, I'll run 3 miles and I'll pass like 3 miles, three mile loops. Fuck no, bro. We're gonna get 1 3-mile loop and I'm being in the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, if I gotta run 20 miles, I'm gonna run 10 miles out. Cause guess what? I'll be damned if my fucking pride's gonna let me call somebody and say, hey, you gonna come pick me up?
Yeah.
Cause now it's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna get home? I guess I'm gonna run the fuck back, huh? That's the option. I'm gonna be a little bitch and quit. Like, well, I ain't gonna do that. So I guess we're running back home.
Yeah.
And like again, it's not so much like, oh, you're so disciplined, so tough, so like, no, I just know what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And I try to use that to my advantage. I work around what I'm not good at.
You talked about something earlier. You said, why are you doing something? You're just kind of going back. You're like, it's okay to treat yourself. Right? It's okay to treat yourself, but why are you doing it? Is it just to fill a void because you're bored or whatever it is? Or is there something deeper, more rooted attached to it? I find myself at this point in my life where it's like, being financially successful is really important to me. I work hard every single day and I dedicate every single moment to trying to find that success and that financial freedom. Not for me because, I'm in Hawaii, I'm in Tahiti, I'm at Fiji. I'm all over the fucking world. I live a billionaire lifestyle from the lifestyle. I may not have billions in the bank, but my lifestyle is rich as fuck. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because, man, my mom is 76. My dad's 78. My brother can't do what I do. He's got kids. I want to fucking be so successful and so connected around the world that I can be like, hey, Jim at the Fairmont, I want to take my brother and his whole family. I want to take my mom and my dad on a vacation. They deserve it. They work hard. They don't ever get to travel. And I get to travel. I'm not doing this for me. I already get to travel. It ain't fucking for me. The success ain't for me. The success is so I can bless the people who have blessed me in this life.
Yeah.
I'm already blessed, and so my success, my rootedness, and my why is for the people that I love.
Yeah.
I want to bless the people that I love, whether it's my girl that I have in my life, my brother, my sister, my parents, my friends. And first thing I did, and this is that I posted on my story today about 2025, and I don't care if it gets blown out yet, but had somebody call me from, I just went to the surf ranch in Palm Springs, and I'd already been to the Kelly Slater stuff. I filmed at both of them, and there's a brand new one in Arizona. And the GM called me and he's like, "Hey, I want you to come out and do all this stuff and film, and come surf and come film. Let's talk about putting marketing strategies together, like to the owners of the surf ranch." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm stoked." What did I do, bro? 1 hour later, I called my brother. I said, "Hey, dude, I got this contact. I'm going to get you to there's a new wave pool." I started sending them photos and videos, and I'm like, "I'm going to take you here."
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have my connection yet, but that's my inspiration, is so I can stoke my brother out. I don't give a fuck. I care to go, but I know I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
My whole thing is killing it and doing such a good fucking job so I can take my mom, my dad, my brother-in-law, my brother, my sister, and stoke them out. I want to stoke them out. Life is too short to make it all about you.
Mm-hmm.
Give other people the blessings. And that's the first thing. I was super excited. He's just like, well, I don't expect it. I'm like, "No, I'm going to get you in there, bro." That's my drive.
Yeah.
It's not, "Oh my God, yeah, I get to go to the surf ranch. Check out what I can do, world." That shit's so fucking low vibrating to me. I don't need to show the world that. I'll just go live that.
Mm-hmm. It's impactful to me that that's it for you, because that's always been it for me. I think it's what makes me so good. I think it's what makes me so willing to work, so committed, so resilient, so tough. Is that it's never been about me. I want the success and the financial credibility and all the accomplishments, but not for me, just for everyone else, the people I care about. My mom's relatively young. She had me. I'm almost 30, but my mom's just now. My mom's only 50, so she's still young. And my dad passed when I was 19, so I don't got him, but for my son and future children of mine, like, no worries, that they can enjoy a good life. Again, sure, by consequence, do I get to have some cool stuff? Like, sure, but that's not the driver for me. I don't care what car I have or whatever. Like, again, like, I'm gonna drive what I want, but that's not what's doing it for me. Again, it's like that the ability, like, I can take my mom on some cool vacations and I can let her go see things that she's never seen, or that I can give my son an experience that I never would have known or had known till now. Like, I'm experiencing it in time with him, but that was foreign to me before. And to give the people around me, to like bless their lives and be of some value to them and connect them to other things or people or opportunities.
Think about how much a better world we'd be in if that's such a beautiful way to think. If everybody thought like this, we wouldn't have half the fucking problems we have, and everybody would be fucking flourishing and growing and benefiting from one another, because everybody's thinking about everybody else. And obviously we need to be selfish a little bit to get those success and work hard and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, being of service, man, that's it. We'll go back to that all the time. Being of service. Be of service to others. Man, I want to bring everybody together. Life's about community. It's about your peer groups and your friends and your family. And, you can't wait for other people to do that. You have to be the person that does that. And if I sat there and waited for other people to invite me to a Friendsgiving or when is blah, blah, blah going to call me, I may never get that shit. You got to be the one that initiates that, because that's how you make more impactful relationships. That's how you grow your community. And that's how you touch people.
I agree. Okay, I gotta get a jacket. I'm finally cold.
It's fucking cold,
dude.
It's easier to finish. Foundations on meaningful relationships.
That's where I was gonna jump into.
Something that I wrote right here was, just to keep it short and brief, it's like relationships are really built on honesty, vulnerability, accountability, and showing up for each other. It's about being present and being real. It really is.
I agree.
And that foundation of any strong connection is trust and authenticity. It really is.
I think those are the pillars of just a good existence collectively, especially the authenticity piece. Holistically overlooked trait, I think, because of social media and the way the world is at this time. Not that it's in a bad place, but like that, we're kind of all trying to chase like the trending thing instead of just being like, who are you? Who's Cameron? Who am I? What do I like to do? What do I enjoy? What do I actually enjoy? right? Again, like that knowing self thing. Like that's really authenticity. Like, hey, you like to fucking dance really weird or sing out loud? Like if you think like, what's the cringiest thing? It's like when people aren't themselves, right? When you see someone like trying to like play a part that's like, isn't them, like that's when you're like,
yeah, 100%.
Like, when your mom's just your mom and she's fucking singing really loud and something, you're like you almost like, you enjoy it. You're grateful for it because that's really who they are. Because you do it around anyone. It's not just like, oh, I'm doing this to like embarrass you or do whatever. That's just who they are.
Yeah.
So I think authenticity.
That's a real motherfucker, right?
Yeah, and then the one we've spoke on infinitely and that I've been blasting on this podcast for the world to hear is like the vulnerability aspect, especially with men. I think women are better at it. It comes a little more natural for them collectively. Again, because of the somewhat unintentional consequences, as I call them, of being a man. Or, if you're weak, if you show your feelings, you're a little bitch. That's not manly, and it's like, you don't have the conversation. They're like, no, that's actually the true form of what being a man is. Just when you do know your emotions, when you can navigate them, when you can be present with life and sort them out and balance the ones that need to be present at that time. That talking about your feelings doesn't make you lesser or weaker, or that they are there, because most people don't even know what they are.
Yeah,
man or women. But I think women can kind of get to a little bit better spot at navigating it collectively. And then honesty, man, whether it's a relationship, an intimate one, or just a regular relationship, a friendship, like if you don't have an honest core or foundation, like what do you have? You don't have anything. It's faulty, fake, And then again, all these characteristics tie into the core value of our life, because like we said the other day, like how do I attract people that I want to be, or that I like, or that I actually are meant for me? It's like, well, you have to first become who you really are. Like if you're like, oh, bitches like tough dudes, so I'm gonna be a tough dude, but you're really a sappy ass motherfucker and you're feely as shit, and you attract the girl who likes tough dudes, like that's not you.
She's gonna eat you alive.
Yeah, for real. But then more importantly, like, you're gonna realize you don't like her that much either.
Yeah.
Because she's not able to give you what you need, because you falsely attracted her with, and maybe you're not intentionally doing this, but like with a lie. That's not who you are. Like, it's okay if you're a dude who's in your feelings, be that. And the woman who wants a man like that will come around.
You are nailing right where it's like almost on cue for what I wrote down here for building authentic connections. Is with so much fake stuff out there, I really try to focus on that being authentic as possible to everybody and everything that I'm doing, and focus on really listening to people and leading with empathy. Because if you have those things, you're gonna attract the right people, or the people that really belong in your life.
Yeah.
And that's how you really build real connections. That's how I've built, I've always been able to make friends, but me being the most vulnerable, the most real that I've ever been, as scary as it is, as worry some as I get about some of the shit that I'm truly being myself, man, that's really what's brought the best people into my life from all different walks of life. If you were to come to the Friendsgiving tomorrow, you'll trip, because my mom's going to be there, her friend, my neighbor, he's 62. Then I have people that are, 30 years old, even younger, that are going to come to this thing, all different people, all different political views. All that stuff is about, I'm just authentically being myself. I allow them to be themselves. I have true empathy. I truly show up. And that's how I've attracted the people that I've attracted, and there's not some special sauce to it. Is that just be you, and be a good fucking human being, and actually truly listen to people and be real.
Yeah.
There's, especially in Los Angeles, but I think it's becoming a worldwide thing because of social media. There's so many fake people in the world.
Yeah.
And you can see it. And a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, especially sometimes it's brand new first night, but I talk about such deep stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, who the fuck is this random person just telling me all this crazy stuff that I don't even hear from some of my own friends? Like, damn it. They're like, what do they say to me? They're like, it's so, God, what is that? Why am I stuck? It's not like,
is it good or bad?
No, it's a good thing. It's like
refreshing.
It's so refreshing. It's like, it's so refreshing to meet somebody who's actually like real and not fake. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't even understand that shit. I don't have a fucking fake bone in my body.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm too honest to a fault. That's part of my downfall, is I'm too honest. I'm too real. Because a lot of people give you the fluff, they give you the shit, they give you the shit that they think you want to hear. you know, and that's not how you build real meaningful relationships. It's really not.
Yeah.
You know, be real, and the right people will find their way towards you.
100%. Yeah. And, you know, just well said, man. I think that, yeah, it's just, if you want to attract and become the best version of, attract the right kind of people and become the best version of yourself, that's all going to be rooted in pursuing who you really are, being an authentic version of yourself, because the world needs that. And you don't know what kind of impact you can have if that's really who you showed up as. Who are the type of people you could attract into your life? What kind of partner you could have? What kind of friend you could be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you don't know if you aren't pursuing that. And like anything, like the only way to do it is to actually become that, pursue that, be that vulnerable person, lean into those emotions even when they're uncomfortable, tell the truth even when it would be easier to not, you know, have that too deep conversation, because if that's what you enjoy and that's what you want, then if you don't have that, then you're going to be unfulfilled, but then you're going to be friends with people that you're like, ugh, I don't want to talk about this fucking stupid ass shit.
Yeah.
I want to have this mundane, regular ass conversation. We talked about that back in April. It's like, man, I don't want to just talk about the weather.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? And no. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me what keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
Tell me what thing in your mind that you're struggling to wrestle and make peace with. What's your biggest fear? What's the thing you're the most insecure about? What's your biggest regret? Yeah.
Well, what's the question we all ask each other? How you doing? When I start saying now to people, like, how you doing? But not like, no, how are you really doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not how was your day and what's going on inside.
Yeah.
Like, are you really good? Or are you struggling with some stuff? Are you going through some trials and tribulations?
Yeah.
If you are, I'm fucking here.
Yeah.
And there's no better person to talk to than me, because that's meaningful to me. And I want you to know that.
Yeah.
Those are everything that we all desire to have in a friend, right? Instead, we go, oh, did you see the Dodgers or this and that? And it's just like all this stuff that is okay.
Yeah.
But it's what the conversations everybody's having.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the show last weekend? Man, that was good when I was at the show. The next day, cool, that was dope. And I may have a recall here and there, but that's not important to me. You know, that was a piece of the puzzle, and it was something that was maybe, you know, a distraction in the grand scheme of what really matters.
I agree. Kind of, since we're in this area, as you've matured, how has your understanding of beauty and meaning in life transformed?
Say it again.
As you've matured, how is your understanding of beauty and meaning in life transformed?
My brain's a little blank because I'm cold. Go into what I wrote here. Because I did have something. What question was that?
12.
Well, we went back. We're bouncing all around.
Yeah.
Folks.
I usually try to like steer the conversation as like it kind of, though I structure it this way. Like,
I love it.
however it flows.
I'll go through the fucking the maze.
Yeah. I just let, like, you know, I didn't have to ask you a lot of the questions about the addiction and stuff, whatever, because you just kind of naturally on your own, like the story that rolled through that.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, most of those I don't need to ask because we already hit them, you know? So it's kind of like, and then as we balance where the conversation just shifts, I just roll with the next one.
Yeah. No, and I wrote something really good here. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. I'm like, what did I write? Fuck, my brain was like,
you're good, man.
Yeah. By the way, I have like the worst fucking memory.
It's all right.
So, like the evolving perceptions of beauty. I said, as I've grown, I've learned that beauty is more than what you see. It's the connections you build and the challenges you overcome and the person you have become. My takeaway is beauty is emotional and it's transformative. It's not just surface deep.
It's not physical only.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it's true.
I agree. I think is that there should be a consistent transitioning view to the way we look at most things in our life, but especially ourself one, but definitely I think beauty is another simple one where it's like, oh, beauty was the girl who was really hot. You know, it's like beauty is the laughter I share with a friend who I really care about. You know, beauty is the way my son smiles when I see him achieve something he's worked really hard for.
Yep.
You know, beauty is the joy I hear from my friend when they're telling me about a success they've achieved,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like how much it's changed from the selfish, naive, ignorant approach I used to think of beauty,
Mm-hmm.
right? And again, I think it should. Like it should change. If it didn't, that'd be something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 45 and the only thing beautiful to you is still bad bitches, like I just feel bad for you.
Yeah.
There's so much on life you're missing out on.
Yeah.
You know,
There's so much more depth to it.
mm-hmm.
It really is. The beautiful things are nice, but they eventually fade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the super hot smoke shit, she's gonna fall apart one day.
Yeah,
Get old, and she ain't gonna be super hot no more.
she won't. And if she's a bitch under that, that's what you're gonna be saying.
And you know what? Those, not to gripe on people like that, but those people that live their life around that
Mm-hmm.
and put so much emphasis and care on that and don't really cherish and tend to the deeper stuff, they have a rude awakening coming.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the person that say I told you so, but if that's all you're focused on, you have a rude awakening.
You do.
Because there's a lot more to life than just the pretty stuff. You know, it's who you are at your core and how you show up for people and the connections that you make and the sacrifices you make and, you know, all those really beautiful things about people. Because that's what makes somebody beautiful.
Yeah.
Because those looks, they fade.
Yep. Eventually everything kind of falls to the wayside.
Mhm.
The success, the money, the accomplishments, the attraction. You know, if you're not rooted in something more than that, something greater.
Yep.
It'll rust. It'll degrade. Because those aren't permanent things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so little in life is actually worth it. And if you aren't finding yourself rooting your aspirations or direction in that way, you can easily find yourself in a position where you feel like you're lost because what you initially were rooted in is just that. It's degraded. It's gone away. And so now you're like, well, why am I here? What am I doing? Because the lifeline, the thing you were connected to, is no longer present.
Yeah. Everybody has their timeline, you know. Some people realize things super young.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, hey, you're 60 years old and you're all staring in the mirror like, oh shit, this is what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. we all arrive in our own time.
Yeah.
You know, and just hope, you know, I mean, some people never do arrive.
Yeah.
And really, again, like we've said, like it's really just more sad for them than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I only have a couple left that I really want to hit. The one big one that may consume more time, but is we kind of hit on it earlier, but I didn't ask your actual opinion of it. Show where to go. Fuck my brain. Also getting to that point. Oh God,
we're in a cold plunge right now,
dude. We're in just a never-ending one. Fuck, where did it go? What qualities, or in your view now, what does the definition of a good man look like?
What's the definition of a good man look like?
Yeah, to you.
To me, a definition of a good man is someone who's selfless, who's willing to put other people in front of themselves, someone who's honest, someone who truly shows up and takes the time and I guess the best way I can do it is to not be a little selfish little boy, you know, someone who actually puts everybody else. Like I look at as a real man is the guy who's like making the sacrifices. A real man is the guy who makes sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people, whether you're a man or a woman, that don't want to make sacrifices. Mm-hmm. Especially for other people, let alone themselves.
Yeah.
But a real man is someone who shows up and makes sacrifices for the betterment of the group. Yeah. You know,
maybe even make sacrifices that are gonna not benefit him at all. It's one thing to just give up something that like, oh, it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
But are you going to do something that's going to be good for others that's going to hinder you?
Yeah.
Are you going to get less sleep? Are you going to give up some of your time?
Yeah.
Are you going to give up your money, give up whatever? Like something that could be harmful to you, you know?
Yeah.
But because it's going to benefit someone else.
Yeah. The sacrificing for the group, not you,
Yeah.
you know, for others.
Yeah.
And because it's almost like it's like a lost cause these days. You don't find that anymore. And then I find people that truly sacrifice for others. And I think parents are really good at that, you know, or good parents. Not every parent's a good parent.
Fact. Painful fact.
You know, but, you know, a good parent is that. You see that in there. They're showing up and going to work, whether they like the job or they don't, you know.
Yeah.
They're making the breakfast for their kids and their loved ones because that's what they know they need to do. So making those sacrifices for other people, that's what really makes a real man in my eyes.
I agree.
Are you willing to step up as a man and sacrifice yourself for the sake of others?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why we, as men, garner a lot of respect for people who are willing to sacrifice so much, right? Whether that be, you know, I mean, I look at it differently because I am a vet, but like a lot of people respect veterans, you know, because like they were willing to make sacrifices with their time, maybe as much as their life, you know, or law enforcement or firefighters, whatever. It's like, why do they gain all this respect? Why are they idolized so much? You know, and it's like because of their willingness to sacrifice, maybe as much as the ultimate sacrifice, but just the sacrifice in itself is what makes it admirable, right? Time with your family, working on holidays when you're at home on the couch, you know, enjoying Thanksgiving. Like, there's people at work, right? So things of that nature, I agree. I think that's a good one.
Sacrifice is a huge one, but you know, going even deeper is, you know, a man's values and standing by your word. My dad always said, "You're only as good as your word. You're only as good as your word."
Yeah.
And as soon as you tarnish that, you're no good.
Yeah. I talked with a woman who mentioned this last week, and it was astounding to me. But I guess it is true. It's like the word for men is a woman's reputation. No, like once you burn it, like you can rebuild it 100%, but it is hard and time consuming and effort consuming, right? Yeah, no, I'm prolifically trying to be like, don't say things you don't mean. If you don't mean it, don't fucking say it. If you're gonna do it, don't say you're gonna do it.
Yeah,
you know, say like you do what you say and you say what you do. You know, don't fluff that shit. Don't oversell it. Don't try to impress someone. Like, get like the honest component. You know, but like, yeah, I struggle to have respect for men who just run their fucking mouth. Like, I can't do it. You know, like I don't care that you don't work hard or do whatever. Like, that's not my concern to it. But it's more rooted in that my despise or disgust for you is in the fact that you're all, bro, I'm gonna get in the gym. Nah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that
I'm like, no, you're not. And you know you're not. So why? Like,
you're just saying it because you want me to make me?
Yeah. You like to make yourself feel better? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know? Because then when I like hit you up, like, hey, so how'd the gym go? You know, man, just
next week.
Yeah. You know, like, it just, man, you know, my wife and the kids, and I just, you know, and it's like, it's different if it like, hey, you've been in there like nonstop for 5 years, and all of a sudden, like, you had a baby. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like priority shift temporarily, like eventually I know you're gonna come back because that's who you are.
Yeah.
But like, bro, you ain't never started. There's nothing to come back. Like, you can't even start.
And that haunts me. I think it haunts me because of how my dad was. And he always used to say that to me. I remember when I was just doing photos, you know, small example, maybe not that important to people, but for me, something small is big, you know? And Michael, I was shooting for Dark Sport. I was shooting for Body Glove a little bit. And I was shooting for my friend at Night Access. It's a promotional nightlife company. And Michael was like, dude, your photos are getting sick, but you need to do video. Video's where it's at. I can thank Michael for being where I'm at right now, one of the people, because I wouldn't have done video if it wasn't for him. I would have stuck in photos because they said I would never touch video. And I was like, yeah. And the next shoot, dude, your photos are getting sicker, but you need to do video. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then the third time, he was just like, yo, dude, photos are getting sick, but video's where it's going, bro. You need to do video. And I was like, fuck. Went out and bought a gimbal. It was my homie's birthday. They're super loaded in the cannabis industry. And they rented a bunch of, at the time, now they own all these cars, but at the time, this is how starting out. They weren't going out and renting the Lambos and all these things. And I was hanging out of the cars going 100, 120 miles an hour. No joke. No for safety straps, feet underneath the seats, hanging inches from the floor. And they just thought I was a psycho. They're like, that was crazy. And I loved what I got of it. But like, point is, not to digress into the story itself, was Michael was saying, you need to do video. I was saying yes, and I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
It was haunting me. I was like, you need to be a man of your word. You ain't no fool that says you're going to do something and don't do it. You do it. So I jumped off the cliff and I did it, you know, and thank God that I am a man of my word and that somebody was pushing me to do something greater and put me outside of my comfort zone, because I wouldn't be traveling the world and doing what I am today. I don't think at the level I am. Yeah. I probably would have just been another photographer. If I didn't listen to him and I didn't put my money where my mouth was. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and one more thing to not go, sorry to interrupt you, but integrity. Integrity. Yeah. Having integrity is really important. It's lost. Yeah. Whether that's a workspace, whether that's just day in, day out, you have to have integrity.
No, but I agree. An interview, my episode that I actually posted today. If you haven't, I'll drop myself. Episode 13 with Sawyer Markham, my boy. Go check it out. Fuck, I feel like a cornball doing that, but oh well, that's who I am. So, he actually posted the reel today where he was speaking. He's like, I want to be known as a man of integrity. You know, he's like, if I say I'm going to be a certain way, I want to be that way. If I say I'm going to do something, I want to do it. If I say I'm going to finish something, I want to finish it. You know, like just that. Having the integrity around that and realizing that, again, like we said earlier, it's not like if you're someone who lacks integrity right now, you're not going to be the most integrity-based individual tomorrow because you did it one time. You know, like it's going to be constantly fighting yourself in the moments that you don't get it when you're like, fuck, I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. And then one day you're going to find yourself like, oh shit, I've done the last 478 things in a row I said I was going to do. Like it's going to take you like fighting yourself like, fuck, I didn't. I said like 5 things and I haven't done them. You know, I've said 20 things and I haven't done them. And it's like, you'll gradually chip away at that over time. And then again, one day, without even knowing it, you're going to be like, oh shit, like I've been doing what the fuck I said I was going to do for a while. Holy shit.
That goes back to the thing that we were talking about. It's never too late. Just because you've painted a certain picture doesn't mean you can't change that picture of the way that people see you. Okay, people see you a certain way, make a change. If it bothers you and you don't think that people are ever going to see a difference in you, oh, you're tripping, brother. You show up differently every single day and prove those people wrong. Yeah. People used to call me an intimidator and certain things like that. You know, my brother did and friends. And, you know, I worked really hard at getting away from that and changing that narrative for people, because that was their narrative of people. And at one point, but like, I think it was like 5 years ago, I remember my friend said to me, he's just like, oh, you intimidate people and that's what you do. Like, and this. And he started going off on me and he's like, your brother says the same thing. And I'm like, you know what, bro? That used to be true. But like, is that true now? Because I think I've grown quite a bit and I think I've changed quite a bit and I don't do the same things that I once did to you. And I've actively tried to really make those changes. And if you're going to hold me in that box, then I don't really want to spend time with you, because I'm actually really trying to make these changes and I have made these changes and you're trying to keep me back. It's almost like you want me to be that person. Yeah. You want to allow me to grow? And you're going to let me be this new person? And they came back to me and they said, no, you're right, dude. Actually, me and your brother have talked and you have come a long way. But because of the reactiveness and because of how the history was, it was easy to fall into that narrative because we were in a conflict. And because of conflict, he could immediately tell me, oh, you're an intimidator. This is what you do. And I was like, no, dude, actually, I'm going about things way differently. And you need to recognize that. You know, and if you truly are, then people will be like, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, if I was a dick and I was reacting, you know what I mean? It was just a heightened conversation that was emotional, but you know, I truly told him, I was like, bro, I've made a lot of sacrifices, a lot of changes. I've worked really hard to be a different human being, dude. I don't want to be that person. You know, if I ever have done something like that, or I made you feel something, I'm sorry, bro. Accountability, taking accountability. Because like right now he's trying to hold me in a box and he may feel some type of way. And because I'm maybe raising my voice, it may be triggering a response from an old scar or trauma. I have a level of responsibility to that. Yeah, some of that's his shit. But at the same time, some of that stuff I have to be accountable for. Hey man, I'm sorry if I've hurt your feelings or if I made you feel that way or if I've intimidated you in the past. That's not who I'm trying to be, dude. Let's become better.
Yeah.
Let's both grow.
100%.
And the relationship since then has gotten way better. Not once have they ever said anything like that because we've both grown past that.
Yeah.
Even
if you're like 1% of the blame, you have to bear that 1%. Right. And a lot of it is 100% easy to go, oh, well, you got 99%. But it's like, if you can't own 1%, how can they own 99? You have 1/100th of the 1/99th of the weight they have to bear, and you don't want to bear it.
Yeah.
Imagine being out on be the other side.
Yeah.
It's really fucking hard to be like, you won't even fucking pick up the penny. You won't pay $1 of the $100 tab. You're griping about giving $1. You want me to give 99?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's
true.
So even if you have a small percentage, minimal as it may be, even if it's vastly the other person, like you have to bear your accountability to the scenario.
Yeah.
Be willing to accept what you aren't doing right or what things maybe you've done wrong previously. And again, the other person has to like make peace with their portion of it. But if you've never really been willing to say sorry or own it in that proper context, then that's still your job as well.
Two sides of the street, always. And do your best to make sure your side of the street is clean. And if there's any part that you've had in a certain situation or scenario, own up to it and try to grow from it and be better.
This one wasn't on the... Oh, sorry. This one wasn't on the question list, so rogue question here.
Okay.
If you could say something to your younger self, what would you say?
Fuck this one.
If you're looking at...
It's all going to work out itself out. It's going to be okay. Because there were so many times that I didn't think it was going to be okay. And it took me near 40 years to fucking realize that it's going to be okay. There's so much more that I would tell.
Yeah.
That little guy.
Yeah.
But just giving him that reassurance that everything was going to be okay, no matter how tough it gets, no matter how hard it is, no matter what you're going through, no matter what situation you're in currently, it's going to work itself out. Yeah. Just continue to show up, continue to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Continue to be authentic, and the right things will find you. The right people will find you.
At the end of the day, it's all going to be okay. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end.
Exactly.
It's just something I think that we all have thought about in some aspect, like, looking back on ourselves to who we are now and like, damn, what would I love to share with me then, and like separate ourselves from that younger version of ourselves. And I'd asked it to one person so far and his answer was good. And so I was like, I feel it's fitting in this scenario. As deep as we usually go in conversations together, I was like, I just thought of it and was like, I wanted to present it to you.
What did he say?
His answer was, you matter.
It's an important one too.
Yeah. Very like those two words, but
so a lot of us feel like we don't matter. We feel so insignificant in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But if we all truly knew how much we really do matter, and we'd realize we'd have a little bit more of a fight in us, right?
Definitely. Yeah, and I even told him, I think like now me needs to hear that sometimes. Like I need to remind myself of that today. I can get caught up in a reel didn't do so well, or my podcast episode didn't get this many streams, or like, so fuck it, like it doesn't matter. I don't matter. What am I even doing it for?
Yeah.
Everyone does matter. And you have people that care about you and that you care about. And maybe you don't realize how much they care about you or how much impact you have on their life. And so the context of realizing like, oh, I don't matter. It's like, well, that shows how unaware you are of your impact to other people.
Mm-hmm. What would you tell your younger self?
Fuck. Oh,
Anybody asked you that yet?
no, no one has asked me. You know, I usually don't get asked questions. I'm the one doing the questions. That's why I'm in the seat. No, I'm kidding. I'll give like the immediate knee jerk answer versus like the try and contemplate an answer that I probably won't be happy with anyway. It's a little bit of a wrapped up of kind of both of the answers you guys have given. Tell myself it's going to be okay. I tell him that we're going to become the kind of person we always needed. And all those really shitty things and hard times, like they work out. They may not feel like it right now, but those times you wanted connection so badly, you get it. All those times you had no friends, now you have so many friends. And all those times you were alone, well, like now you're almost never alone.
What a beautiful come full circle thing, right?
Yeah.
Something you didn't get, now you fully have.
Yeah.
And you're creating more of that, especially with this right here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you're getting to see and meet people at a way deeper level than you probably ever thought or even imagined.
Yeah.
Having conversations way longer and way more in depth than you ever even thought.
Yeah.
Never thought you were going to get, you know?
Yeah.
And here you are creating that. You created that.
Yeah.
You created that. Nobody else.
Yeah.
All the things that you wanted and you desired, you created.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're sitting in the chair that you're sitting in right now. That's why you're on episode 15.
15. You're 15, big dog.
You know, and look at that, dude. That's 15 episodes. How long?
6 months.
6 months.
Every other week. I haven't missed.
So 9 months, the light went on about, I could do something more with this photo video. It's not too late, maybe. We're trying to figure out what was for you.
Mm-hmm.
To 6 months, 3 months later, I'm going to do a podcast. And now you're 15 episodes deep, and you probably were too scared to jump off the cliff at one point.
Yeah.
Probably like, can I do this? Am I meant for this?
I still ask myself that.
Yeah.
Something I guess I would tell myself younger, and that's that I try to remind people nowadays too, is that like it's supposed to feel hard. It's supposed to feel like you're gonna fail. It's supposed to feel undeserving. You know, you're supposed to have this doubt, this angst, this uncertainty. I don't want to be repetitive, but like that's what it's supposed to be. Because if you just knew you were going to win, you just knew the podcast was going to be a hit, you just knew you were going to figure it all out, what would be the point of even trying to figure it out? Like, what really makes it worth it, what makes your life great and worth living is that you don't know how many good times you're going to have or how many bad times.
Mm-hmm. And
you don't know how long the good's going to last. And you don't know the next time the bad's going to knock you on your ass.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know if you're going to win or if you're going to lose. You don't know if it's going to work or it's not.
The unknown is the intriguing.
It is. Like it's what makes it worth pursuing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you just knew, it wouldn't be worth it. Like it wouldn't be. You know, I look at it like in the aspect of, I mentioned it earlier with wealth, but it's like you can win the lottery and go broke. It's like, and you get more money than most people will ever have in your life. It's like, but you're missing something still. Like you still don't have knowledge on how to keep the money. Right. So it's like everything that gets you to the moment where the big one, you win, you know, like you have to lose. You have to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want success. Like I hate to paint the sad picture for you, but it's going to be failure after failure after failure after failure after failure after failure. And I can say it 100 more times and it's still not enough. And then you're going to get just like a drop of success. And then it's right back to failing again, failing. But you learn through the failures, especially if you're doing it right. When I started the podcast, I said, I want to fail and fuck it up so much at the beginning. Like I just want to fuck up because I'm going to learn. So if I want to do anything that looks good, that's visually appealing, that sounds good, to learn how to edit the footage right, to know what settings not to do or how to fuck with the camera or what lighting should be, or like, you know, I'm going to have to fuck it up so that I know not what's right, but okay, well, that's not it.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Gone. Scratch one thing off the list. Again, using what's not, like working to my failure, working to my negative. Like, I don't know what's right, but I know 87 things that don't fucking work. And guess what? There's only, I don't know the number, but there's only a finite number of more wrong ways to fuck this up by the consequence. All I will get to is what actually works.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, trauma, scars, that's how I learn. That's how it sticks for me. I go watch the YouTube video, which I never do because I know it just doesn't work for me. When I'm trying to learn something new, I may entertain it, but I know it's not going to retain because it didn't scar me. I walk away from that video that I just watched 5 times in a row and go, what the fuck did I just learn? But as soon as I step out and I fail, or I make a mistake, or somebody didn't like something, I'm so scarred that shit is never happening again. Or I remember 10 years ago when this happened, this is how it made me feel. I ain't making that mistake again, you know? And that's how you really, for me, that's how I really learn. I need failure.
Yeah.
I need those things in life because those are my sticking points. Does it feel good? No. It feels fucking absolutely terrible. I feel so small and worthless at the time. But those are all those emotions that are attached to that failure is what makes me successful.
Yeah, I agree. All right, last one, big dog.
Oof.
Which one do you think it's going to?
I don't know.
Is there? It's really actually simple. It's the easiest question. So I don't have to. I never put it on the sheet. I put it on the sheet for one person, and I regret doing it because I don't like doing it. But if you could share like a piece of advice, quote, something impactful to you that you would like others to have, or maybe hear, what would it be?
Well, I can kind of go off of the last thing I wrote here I'll kind of throw it all into, there's a couple things right here that I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, one is, I wrote here, said, I want my legacy to remind people that it's never too late to rewrite your story. We all have the power to create the life we want. Legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about what lives, what lives you touch. So legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about what lives you touch.
Okay.
And then my vision is to keep creating, keep inspiring, and building something that uplifts others, to connect with one another. I want to show people that resilience and creativity and community can change everything. The future belongs to those who never stop striving.
I like that. Sorry, we talked a lot, so I skipped a few questions. I wasn't trying to hoe you.
No. Honestly.
And a lot of stuff just worked, so I didn't even have to ask good questions.
Well, and that's just how you and I are.
Yeah.
Like from the day that we connected in Big Sur, at the wish you were here, the depth of conversation that we had, and even after that moment of filming and me telling my story, you telling me your story, and bonding in that, we continued to just have these just really profound conversations that were very deep, very meaningful, and eye-opening. You know, and I value your friendship, even though it's only been 9 months. Bro, I've had deeper conversations with you, and I've turned to you over some of my friends that I've known for my whole entire life. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve those aspects of me. You just bring a level of depth to the table that matches my level, and you're not scared to be vulnerable and to open up and share your opinion, and vice versa. And that's what I value. I know that if I turn to you, which I have turned to you about certain things that maybe I was embarrassed about or didn't like or it wasn't my best on, you didn't judge me. You gave me some advice. You taught me or told me how I could pivot and what I can learn and grow from it. You gave me a different perspective to put my shoes in. And I value, you know, your friendship and the relationship that we've created just in the short 9 months that we've known each other.
I agree.
A lot of people, they've known somebody for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They don't really fucking know them. Yeah. I've gotten to know you in 9 months more than some of the people that I've known my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's because of what you've given me, you know, and vice versa. So thank you for being a good friend. And honestly, thank you for having me on this podcast. You know, you sit here and say things like, oh, who am I in this thing? Like, are people even going to recognize me? Man, it's people only recognize the people that are famous because they're famous. They've been on TV, whatever. Those people are just like you and me, you know? And people want to listen to people like you and me just as much as they want to listen to them if there's value. And if it's an in-depth type of conversation and back and forth. And we have that. So it should be of value to people. And what it also do is going to allow people to connect with us and relate and be like, holy shit, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Damn, all that stuff that Cameron shared, you shared, that other people shared, is stuff that I can resonate with. I want to watch his podcast, not because he's famous or he's some well-known person, but because this guy actually gives a shit and he's doing good work in the world and he's trying to make a positive impact. And that's more than most people can say that they do. Yeah. There's not a lot of people going out there and being of service. And right now, this is being of service. There's probably a level of therapy that you get from it. And that's okay because you're helping people. You're putting out a positive message. If anybody's hating on that, man, they got some work to do themselves, you know? Yeah. So you should be proud that you jumped off the cliff in such a short period of time and you're on episode 15. It's only going to grow. It's only going to get better, you know, and you're going to have more prominent people that come along because they're going to recognize some of the things that you do, or even just the conversations that you have. It's going to allow those doors to open up because that's just life. Yeah. You know, may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but at some point the doors will. Yeah. I don't think half these people that had podcasts would have thought that half the people on their show would have been on there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know,
again, like we said, if you just knew it was going to work, what would be the point of pursuing it? Mm-hmm. You know, and I do have some still tougher self-talk and opinions of self, you know, that I'm trying to navigate appropriately. It's not easy. So I appreciate the things you say and some other people have said to me about my efforts in this space, and you in particular, because this is kind of a realm you've existed in a while, you know, as to where I'm just throwing myself in it, trying to be a sponge, trying to learn so much, trying to ask all the questions and get all the understanding and make all the mistakes so that I can learn and grow, so that I know how to talk decently and I know how to tell a story about the things I've been through and kind of ask people to do the same, you know, but there's a lot more into a podcast than that. And, you know, I do have some, it's like what I would say to younger me, like, it's supposed to be hard, you know, and it is hard. And there's a level of uncertainty. I think that I've talked to some super successful people in my life too already. And, you know, they're still just as uncertain at the CEO level as they were at the intern level.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing,
dude,
bro.
No one knows.
Everybody's just doing their best.
Yeah. So I can't, one of the times my words aren't great is when I take compliments. And so it means a lot to me, the things you said positively from the beginning when I started to even here now today. It means a lot to me. So thank you. I'm trying my best. And like we said earlier, I think what will make it great in time, I do believe it will be, is it's not for me. When I started it wasn't for me. Why I started it, my why message was, I have really great conversations with people, like really great ones. And I hate that they just died there. They were just gone, that no one else ever got to hear them. And I said, well, how can I capture that moment, capture those conversations, and then give them to other people?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, podcasting's a thing. Like that kind of does that. I listen to a lot of podcasts that do that. Like, okay, well, maybe I could do that. And I asked a few people that I trusted, who I knew would tell me if they thought, like, yeah, no, man, you're fucked. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And,
not for you.
Yeah. And I asked the people, and they were like, oh, no, bro, if anybody should do it, it's you. And I was like, really? Like, you think so? And they're like, no, yeah. And then, so with that and a little bit of balls I had, you know, just here we are. So
what a beautiful thing that people believe in you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
At one point, you said you didn't have anybody in your corner, nobody to talk to. loner kid and
Yeah.
by yourself, eating at lunch by yourself, or like didn't have any friends or didn't have that many friends or at least
None.
meaningful. and look at where you've gotten now. So, and people are in your corner supporting you and your dreams and things that are important to you. That's you've surrounded yourself with the right people. You're on the right path. You're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
And you're doing exactly what you should be doing. And you're going to get moments. I tell people this all the time, man. In the 10 years of me doing the video stuff, there was probably 4 really huge moments where I'm like, this isn't for me. You should just throw up the towel. You should quit. You should go get a regular job like everybody else. And then I sat there and I'm like, is that what you really want to do? Be like everybody else? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what other people are doing. That's for them. And their life is for them to figure out. I found something that I was truly passionate about. And are you willing to give it all away because it's hard?
Yeah.
Because it's not working out the way you thought it was going to work out.
Or as fast as you thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, as I'll quote a cartoon, but, Finding Nemo is like, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
That little dumb fish.
She knew the only thing that mattered.
She's actually smart. She just kept going, kept swimming, through all the fucking shit she got into. She just keep swimming.
Yeah.
And that's in life. Just keep going.
Keep going. Yeah. The one I would share, I'm happy to share, and I'm only doing it because it's with you. I don't think with anyone else I'd have the courage to do it, is a quote from myself. Actually, I wrote it when I was 17. Don't know what I was on then. Nothing. Like I wasn't on anything, but like where I got this knowledge from or wisdom, I don't know. But I think it just shows that the version of me that is present now was always there. I just have embraced letting him be present all the time. And so the quote goes is, we should always believe in others because we too one day will need someone to believe in us.
I love that. It's 17?
Yeah.
That's insightful.
Yeah. And like you said there, like, I hate talking about like my life. Maybe that's why I chose to do a podcast, to talk to other people. Mm-hmm. I can relate and I can share like bits. I hate it. But I didn't really have my first friend until I was 12. I was a little weird kid. I had glasses. I was dyslexic and I was not really great at school. And I got, like the shit kicked out of me. I was an easy target. Definitely girls didn't think I was cool at all. But to tie all that up with a bow and say that I'm in a point in my life now where people do believe in me. But that it wouldn't have happened if I didn't first start being willing to believe in myself. As if everyone believed in me, but I didn't believe in me, then it wouldn't matter. So like, even if it was not real at first, you gotta like, I hate saying fake it till you make it because I don't think it's really real, but like, it's like my therapist told me, she's like, even if you don't believe the things you say to yourself at first, just start saying them. Right? Like, even if when you make a mistake, it's you're a fucking idiot. Like, just say like, hey, you're a smart guy. Hey, you're a smart guy. Hey, you're a smart guy. She's like, you don't have to believe it, but just start saying it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's completely faking it, but like Alex Hormozy says it well. It's the quote I would love to use, but he said the world belongs to optimists because, it belongs to them because they believe it can happen. Mm-hmm. And kind of your comment earlier, it's like, oh, those people come back around. It's like, because you're only crazy until it works.
Yeah.
You're only the weirdo till you win. But it's because you have to believe you can win. And then you can learn to generate so much momentum and power and ambition and willingness to continue on if you can continue to believe that it can happen. I shared on my story the other day a thing of Chris Williamson talking over, I forget what he said. He said, I'm bound, I'm going to butcher it, but like, I'm bound to figure out why I think that I must struggle and fight and be scarred to achieve things in my life. And I posted on my story and I said, I can't wait to have this conversation with you one day. Because I believe I can do it. I believe that I can navigate conversations well enough maybe not now, but in time. And my mind is complex enough and erratic and too dynamic and irrational that I could have an amazing conversation with him.
Yeah.
And I just know that it'll be a matter of time until I get to sit across the table and talk to him one day. But it's not because the other people believe in me that I think that. It's because I believe in myself enough now. And their belief in me has helped compound that belief in myself even more. So, and I can't thank you enough for making the time, big dog, and being here and fucking freezing our asses off in this goddamn cold because we said we wanted to film something outside. And for just, again, more importantly, the time and coming to the game and chatting with me on the pier and from things of, and trusting me with my opinion from those moments that we had, you know, that night when we were voice messaging about that situation you were in and you know, like, you know, and it's never any judgment. I was just it's always for other people. You know, I want to help be a good friend and provide value to you any way I can, whether that's we're half the country away or right here having a good conversation. So I'm grateful for you, and I look forward to many more great conversations through time as we continue to be friends. And thanks for being here, man. It means a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
And right back at you, bro. Like, thanks for traveling all the way. I mean, I was, like I told you in the message, I was flattered that you even wanted to take a flight all the way out to California and have me on your podcast and think I was the things that I had to say or my opinions mattered that much to be a part of what you're doing here. And then even more so to stoke it out with, oh, I got Laker tickets. We don't have to go. I'm like, what? Of course I want to go. Are you kidding me? And then they're amazing seats. I'm like, who is this guy? What the fuck? Like, all right, I know we've had some amazing conversations and he's been there for me. I've been there for him, but here he is. He wants me on his podcast and showing up with sick ass Laker tickets. Like, that was a godsend right here, dude. It really felt like that. And I just felt flattered, honestly, dude. I felt grateful. Sometimes I was asking myself, I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? I was literally asking myself that last night with, you know, the game, and then my friends like, come over to this. And I'm just like, what did I do to deserve this? And I thought about it and I go, it's because you've shown up and you've been a fucking real human being and a good human being to people. He wasn't trying to go out and I didn't do any of the shit to get something from you. I didn't do anything to get something from him. It's just existing and being authentically myself. It's allowed for people like yourself to give me certain blessings. And then I'm always like, how do I repay that?
Yeah.
I'm never like, oh, thanks for saying bye.
Yeah.
So now I feel obligated, kind of like with the dark sports stuff. They were giving me free clothes. I wasn't doing anything for it. I'm obligated. I feel I need to give back.
Yeah.
That's how life should be. The world would be a better place if there was more of that stuff, that give and take.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, what can you give me? Oh, you can't give me anymore? You're no good to me.
Yeah.
You know? And unfortunately, not to go too deep, but I've been in certain relationships where if I wasn't giving them something and they weren't getting something out of it, I was no good to them.
Yeah.
And that was hurtful. But I also had to realize that wasn't me. That was them. And it was shitty that I just had to deal with people that were just wanted to bleed me dry of my energy and what I brought to the table.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to be able to like decipher who is really genuinely showing up for you in your life and who's actually using you and being an energy vampire and trying to take from you. Because there's a lot of those people, they see you as a good human being. Oh my God, he's fucking awesome, dude. He'll show up for you. Then anytime anything is going wrong, what do? They call on you to build them up and to make them feel good and take all this time and energy from you. And then as soon as it's done, okay, bye. You're no good to me.
Yep.
You know, and it's unfortunate, but that's you truly being authentically yourself. It weeds out those people.
Yeah.
And then you're able to, if you're truly yourself, all that shit comes to light. And the people that are awesome in your life show up like you have. And the ones that don't, they're just a memory.
Yep.
So thank you for being, in that specific situation that we're talking about. I know everybody's going to want to know what it was. Because that's what it is. You don't give it to them. But you were a really good friend and you sat there and listened and you didn't make me feel judged. I was judging the fuck out of myself.
Yeah.
I was really down.
Just like be kind to yourself. Like it's okay to not know or to make the mistake.
Yeah.
I was reminding you of the things that you already knew. Like, hey, you didn't do this, or maybe you reacted in a not so great way. Like, it's okay. You can apologize for that. Or was dad do the right thing? No, but like, was there extenuating circumstances? Like, oh yeah, well, there is. Okay, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, there's always times like you can change it. You can go have that different conversation now. You can say, hey, like, I understand you're coming from this place. I'm coming from this place. I understand you've had these experiences. Well, I've had those experiences. Like, so let's try and do something better now. Just reminding people, Alex always says it again. He's like, people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. People just need to be reminded that they're loved, that they matter, that it's okay, that it's going to work out. That at the end of the day is, again, they just need to be reminded. And they'd be taught that they already know. Just need to be reminded. So, and I would have had you on earlier, but I wanted to get to a point where I thought I was good enough at this to have you on. Because I was like, man, I can't call this guy who's does this kind of thing for a living and then show up with like a fucking GoPro in the corner and yelling at my phone mic, from across the house. So, yeah, no, man, you're always one person I wanted to do it with. I wanted to do a podcast with.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get to a spot where I thought I was good enough to even ask for that time. So
you definitely are. You were from the get-go. You know what I mean? It's just that self-doubt of not the unknown. You hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
And so you clearly had all the skills from every conversation that we held before up until this point. It was basically a podcast just on a personal level.
Yeah. The podcast without the camera.
Without all that stuff. And I think one of the things that we've both come to realize is, dude, we're all just looking for love, man.
Yeah.
We all just want to be loved. We all just want to be appreciated and respected. And that's love, man. I've had people fucking be mean as fuck to me. And I'm just like, just kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
I want to be the other guy, but then you're just them.
Yeah.
And so just kill them with kindness. I remember I was telling this girl, just telling her over and over again. She's like going so off on me, going crazy. And I was just like, so it's all right. I love you. You know what I mean? And fucking after the third time, she's like, you just keep saying you fucking love me. And she was like trying to break me, just trying to break me. And then, I was like, okay, we get off the phone. And we talk, and I was just like, that's why I was just telling you, because she's like, apologize later. It took her time. At the moment, though, she hated the love that I was trying to give her because she was resistant, But as soon as she had a moment to like come to Jesus moment, she realized, oh shit, I'm being a fucking asshole. All this dude is trying to do is just express love to me and be genuine and being kind, and I'm just being an asshole.
Yeah.
So do you want to be the asshole or do you want to be the lover? Because I'll tell you what wins. Love may not win right away, but it will win in the end.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate this time. And to anyone who's listening this far in, you're fucking welcome. And I hope you enjoy it.